This is in my top 5. Easy.
The problem is, it's a perfect album.
It stinking scared me as a kid.
I don't know what the hell's actually going on because I'm not a big lyrics person.
He took it personal.
That was my diatribe.
Are you freaking kidding me?
This is where the scene is over.
There's no subtext to this. This is a blatant song.
This is just the ultimate FU song.
I have always loved that.
You feel it in your bones.
We have to be honest about that. We are here again. Carsen, Caton Hyde. We are back at it today. Today is 15 Poison. Great songs, 15 of our favorites. This is not the definitive Poison. This isn't their greatest songs, their greatest hits. This is our favorites, personal favorites of Poison. I imagine with Poison there's going to be some overlap. I feel like it's just a different kind of band, a different kind of song than when we had done Motley Crue before. And so I think it's going to be really interesting. Right?
I agree.
What was the hardest part?
Well, right before you...
No, you go ahead, Caton.
No, go for it. Go for it, Carsen.
Okay,
go.
Okay. Here's what's hard for me when ranking Poison songs, that because I associate Poison with a live show. And I know how these songs make me feel live. So there are songs in here that I will tell you, they rank so high on my list because of the live, because just the adrenaline, the love I have of seeing Poison, of seeing Bret live, that there are songs here that probably shouldn't be as high as they are, but you can't fight the feeling on them. And that's what struggle with Poison, is that there are things that on an album I think are stronger, but they got pushed either to the back or off because I love Poison live so much.
I think that's fair. Caton, what about you?
Yeah, the hardest thing for me probably was not selecting the 15. That was easier than the Motley Crue episode that we did for me, but ranking the 15 was a lot more painstaking than ranking the Crue top 15 for me. So right before you hit record, Carsen was saying, if we had done a top 20, I don't think I would have had to have left anything out, but doing top 15, I'm losing sleep on a few that I had to leave out. So that'll make it fun.
That's probably about right. I feel like, and you all could disagree with me before we really get into it. I feel like Poison is not the biggest deep cuts band. I feel like their hits are some of their greatest songs, which is not to say there isn't deep cuts, I'm sure, on all of our lists, but I feel like Poison at their heart and soul is a pop band. And with pop music, a lot of times that single is the best song on the album. And I don't feel like when I discuss Poison with other people that a lot of them are all sitting there saying, yeah, but check out track 9 on Look What the Cat Dragged In, because man, that's where it's at. And that's not a negative. To me, swing your home run hit. Don't try for a single. Try for the fences, and Poison always does. So
I hope somebody has number 1 Bad Boy on their list just to say they have track 9 from Look What the Cat Dragged In.
I'll tell you, whoever, whether it was the label, band involvement, whatever it was back in the day, whoever it was, they did a great job on single selection for Poison. I mean, they got it right when it came to what they released. I do think, and we'll get into this, I absolutely do think that there are some album cuts that could have crushed as a single. And we'll get to it, but I don't think they chose wrong, but I just think there's a few specifically on Open Up and Say that I think could have done. I think could have done some damage. I can't wait to see what you're going to say,
because I have the exact same thought specifically about that album. So I'm excited to get into. I have note cards. I'm excited to get into this one.
All right. Well then, Carsen, since you're so jazzed and so ready, I say we start with you, because we started with Caton last time. Let's start with you this time, and let's go with your number 15.
All right. Well, I'm going to take it back to 93 off Native Tongue, that we are going to go with. I mean, like you say, deep cut. That's kind of, Native Tongue, I was like, single-ish, but Ain't That the Truth?
Really cool song.
And I think you can hear, for me, such a Poison fan, when I talk about the live show, that right out of the gate, that song sounds like Poison, what you're used to before we got Caton in the mix, right? Because right out of you get the opening and it's like, is that drum beat about to be Unskinny Bop? No, it's Ain't That the Truth. But the drum groove on it, kudos to that. And it's also the vibe of the song when I was listening to it, and I realized there's something that's been going around very recently about music, how people want music that sounds familiar. So it's a hard game to play if you're a new band, a new artist, or you're releasing new music, but you need people to already be familiar with it. That's why TikTok is such a big deal. But when you go back to that song, that, like I said, you've got the Unskinny Bop, just that couple of seconds. I'm like, oh, nope. But also, it is already reminiscent of Gimme 3 Steps. It's already reminiscent of Your Mama Don't Dance. It's also reminiscent of Look But You Can't Touch. That there's all these, and I mean more lyrically with, and like story-wise with the Gimme 3 Steps and Your Mama Don't Dance. But that's why it's already got a familiar feel with this new iteration of Poison, which is why I gravitated to it, because I still wanted my old Poison back when Native Tongue came out.
I think it's fair. No, it's a fun song. I don't disagree with anything you said. I'm a big Native Tongue fan. So to me, again, anything you pick off of there sounds really good. We all know that I'm good at picking the alternate lineup of bands from time to time. So I'll get into some Native Tongue later on.
Yeah, it's a good choice. It's a good choice for number 15. It's funny. I bumped my number 15 about 10 minutes before we hit record here. And it was a Native Tongue. It was a Native Tongue tune. I'll tell you something that you made me think of, Carsen, and that's so great song, great choice. I'll tell you another one that spot on with what you said. I think this song, what I'm about to say, had the classic Poison lineup sound. This song sounded so Flesh era to me, and that's Ride Child Ride. The chorus,
absolutely.
The chorus, to me, that sounds like Flesh era Poison. And just like probably all of us, when I love Native Tongue as well, a lot. When Native Tongue came out, I was kind of initially gravitated to the tunes that reminded me a little bit of old Poison, just like your choice. And again, I think Ride Child Ride was another one.
Ride Child Ride, absolutely. They stayed glam with that song, even with that so much of that album is not right. Except there are sometimes where you're still like, you can't take the Bret out of Bret, but Ride Child Ride to me absolutely embraces that. Ain't That the Truth to me has that vibe that it absolutely could have been on Flesh and Blood.
Yep.
All right, Caton, what is your number 15?
All right, my number 15. I'm not going to give honorable mentions, but I am just going to mention what was there and got bumped about 10 minutes ago. So for a week now, number 15 was Theater of the Soul off Native Tongue, which is
so good.
Which is one of my favorite Poison ballads. And honestly, it could have just as easily been, Until You Suffer Some, Fire and Ice. I love that as well. I just want to mention a quick fun fact, and maybe we'll go there a little later if anybody has it. Theater of the Soul is very reminiscent of Every Rose, if you think about it. The chord structure is similar. And also I noticed, I had never really thought about this, CeCe does the exact mini guitar solo in between verse 1 and verse 2, just like on Every Rose. And then he does a proper solo after verse 2. So it's I was just listening to it a lot and I was thinking, wow, this is the chord structure. You could tell there was something in the back of the mind there. But all right, my number 15 is So Tell Me Why. I had it higher earlier in the week, guys, and it kind of dropped because I had to put a few things in. I love this tune. I absolutely love this song. I guess the first time we heard it was on Swallow This Live. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I absolutely loved it. I think sounds very classic Poison. So I think is, a bonus track, if you will, or a new track when that live album came out. I was super excited to hear that. I love the simplicity. If you remember, you've got the intro, which is great, but then the simplicity of just the simple chords when it kicks in, when Bret kicks in, the simple CC chords that are sitting behind, Bret's vocals of, I'd like to put to rest the rumors, whatever the lyrics are. I just love it. I love this song. I remember the first time I heard it, just because I was so excited to hear a new Poison tune. I loved that live album, but I always gravitated to this song, and all these years later, it just sounds so fresh to me, and I love it. I think it's an incredible Poison song.
I have a card for it, so it was on my list. I'm a girl, so I get to talk about this. I love a yearn. I love men that yearn. I want a man to be desperate. And I love a big, bold, sexy song for somebody that doesn't want it. Like, I love that Bret is working for this. From a musical standpoint, though, I love the big bass snare connection. Like, you just get that thud on it that I think makes it so, like, stick out and stand up to attention. So tell me why is on my list. So when we get to that number, I will reveal where it's set.
I'm in the same boat.
Okay.
It's coming up later. So
I'll tell you something that popped into my head as well when I was doing this ranking is I kind of think of this, to be honest, very similar to the way I think about Thin Disguise from Warrant, meaning Thin Disguise from Warrant is one of my all-time favorite Warrant songs. And, it wasn't on, most people, it's not an album track, if you will. And I know this was on an album, but not a studio album by Poison.
Right.
But I just think it's an incredible song. It could have been a lot higher than 15, and sounds like maybe it will be later in the night.
Yeah, we'll come back to it because I definitely have it. Much like with Motley, I've got a lot on my list that are not on Poison studio albums. So went deep again. This one I'm going to throw into that category. My number 15. This one was not technically on a studio album unless you bought said album at Walmart. I had to because I got to tell my story. If you bought Poisoned, the covers album, great album. Like, I don't know that this was the covers time. Everybody's putting out a covers album between 2005 and 2008. Like Def Leppard, Queensryche, Poison, everybody's doing a cover. And it was such a weird spot. I feel like these bands were beginning to go into we can keep touring, but does anyone care if we put down a full studio album, waste hundreds of thousands of dollars on something that we're not sure people are going to buy anymore?
I think that was absolutely the mindset from so
it
many.
Was, and I can't blame any of them. I cannot blame any of them. Now that's a nice shirt, Carsen.
Oh wow, that's a cool one.
You're welcome.
You don't often see one in the wild that has the D slapped on the end there.
Nope. It's very special. So this one has a great story. This is the last song on Poisoned if you bought it at Walmart only, and it is a cover of Justin Timberlake's Sexy Back.
Wow.
Peyton's mind blown.
Wow.
So
for several reasons, yeah.
When I heard that Poisoned was coming out, of course, I was going to go out and buy it day one. And then they must have advertised it on their website that if you bought it at Walmart, you got a cover of Sexy Back on there. So I ran to Walmart, and then I promptly ran to my local radio station. It just so helped that I worked there at the time. It also helps that Carsen worked there at the time, and she was on the air that Tuesday night, back when albums came out on Tuesdays, which, by the way, I miss. By the time Friday rolls around, I don't know a new album is coming out, and I don't care. So Tuesday was the day.
For sure.
And I said, you've got to hear this. You've got to play it. And Carsen, you did.
I did. I played Sexy Back, and honestly, people called and loved it because it's that it's got that power to the people vibe, that slightly like mechanical, the rough industrial. I think that's the word I'm really looking for. And it's a song I don't care if you're like, oh, I'm a rap guy. I don't like pop music. Y'all love Sexy Back. And Poison giving us Sexy Back was dope. And that Sexy Back, somebody heard me and then called Bret and his team and was like, these people in Nashville, these two DJs are playing Sexy Back? And he was like, you're kidding. They're like, no, 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 no. So then the phone rings at the radio station. They're like, hey, this is John with Bret Michaels. Are you playing Sexy Back? Yeah, I played about an hour ago. Seriously? Yeah, dude. It's a banger. It's a banger.
And I think we played it enough between the two of us on a big enough station that it actually, I believe,
It charted.
Number 50 out of 50. So much so that Poison officially put it on his promo single. And I own it still because I will to this day believe that Carsen and I are responsible for the fact that this exists. This was not the plan. They put out the What I Like About You as the single. This was not what was supposed to go to rock radio. This happened because a rock station was playing it. So what is the single?
What is that now?
It is the promo single.
Okay.
Only sent out for promotional purposes to radio stations.
That came to the radio station. We stole it.
Yes.
It came and I took it.
And I will never let go of it because I will say it exists because of me.
And so they started promoting that song to radio stations.
They sent it out. They sent it out like kind of as a, hey, do you want to throw this on? I don't think a lot of stations jumped on. Especially because we were also an active rock station. We were in everything that rocks. So to be playing the new Poison thing carried with it that much more weight. But the average active rocker wasn't going to play anything Poison, and the average classic rocker wasn't going to play any new Poison. So we just kind of became this little island of misfit. We're going to play this because it cooks, it kills. And like Carsen said, look, if they'd just done a straight cover, I'm sure it would have been great, but it's got that power to the people vibe. It's got that modern Poison sound. They really did keep it where you want it and also make it their own in a great way. Huge song, obviously, but that's why it makes my list, because I take all the pride in the world that disc exists because of me.
Well, that's awesome.
That was my alternate. That was an alternate 15 for me.
It was going to stay on just because of the story. That's why it wasn't going to go away.
Like, I hope he's going to tell it, because I was like, I hated to not have it on, but I'm glad you did.
I'll be honest, I truly didn't think this was possible. I don't know that I've ever heard it. So I'll listen to it.
Don't walk.
I'll listen to it tonight.
So good.
Is it on Spotify? I don't even know.
I don't know
is
that
it
I've
out there
ever
on
heard
Apple Music or anything?
I didn't even look. So
we'll do it live. Let's see. I'm going to look up my Spotify.
Yeah, go find it. Yeah, look it up.
Here we go.
Leave it to Hyde to mix things up with his first selection. I love it.
Sexy Back with 2 Ks. No, Poison. Yes, it is out there.
Okay.
For your listening.
I'm going to add it to my workout playlist.
Oh,
it needs to be on there. It needs to be on there.
Caton, your number 14.
All right, my number 14 is Something to Believe in, All Flesh and Blood. So I've got a couple ballads on here. Like I said, I almost had Theater of the Soul on here as 15, but I've got a few ballads on here which surprised me, not because I don't love Poison ballads. I do, but I just kind of a lot of times gravitate in my favorite category to more of the rockers. But Something to Believe in, I thought was, I can remember so well getting this tape, the Flesh and Blood tape. Yeah, it was a tape I got, not a CD. And I just remember this one stood out to me. It was before it was a single, right? This was release day. And, I don't know that on Flesh and Blood, not just this song, obviously the lyrical content was very, very different and a lot more mature than what other bands were doing, right, in their ballads. But there's some exceptions, obviously, on Flesh and Blood, but Flesh and Blood just in totality was a massive step in maturity for that band from Open Up and Say
100%.
Ah. And of course, I knew that before this past week when I really just, started spending a lot of time with these songs, and some of them, for the first time in a few years. But just a lot of them, it really stood out to me. It was like, wow, like it was more of a leap than I even gave it credit for when I was a kid when it came out. But I mean, the lyrics of Something to Believe in, I still think they're beautiful to this day. I mean, I think it's just almost poetic, what he put down for this song. And I love it. I think CeCe's solo is incredible on this song. It's always been one of my favorite Poison ballads. And, honestly, kind of listening back to it a lot this week, it stands up. It stands up. It ages really well, to be honest with you. So Poison, Something to Believe in. And
for counterpoint, Carsen.
It is not one of my favorites, admittedly. I can appreciate the, like you said, the growth of Poison, of the lyrics. But speaking to Flesh and Blood as a whole, that, like you said, there is such a leap in maturity. And going back and even just looking at the track listing, just eyeballing it without even listening, that you start looking at the titles of those songs and you hear them in your head and you're like, wow, there really is, for being only like a year later, 2 years later after Open Up, it's it is leaps and bounds in a very, very short time. It's Something to Believe in. It may not be my favorite, but it obviously has a lot of meaning, not just to a lot of people, but I think to the band too, that there's such an honesty in the lyrics and the story that they're telling.
I'm going to agree with the honesty. Go ahead, Caton.
Why was this one not one of your favorites? I'm curious. I've never heard you say that.
Hyde knows. This is where I'm like, oh, it's time to go get beer. At a show. It's because, you know why? And we'll talk a lot about this when like I said, I did a lot of this based on the Poison live set. It's a mood killer, straight up, in a live set. It's doesn't mean it doesn't have meaning for people. It doesn't mean that people don't enjoy it. It just, to me, it just brings it down. I also, it's just heavy. And maybe that's part of it too, is like, as a kid, you're talking to me about the homeless and Vietnam vets. And like, I see that, and it's already, like, we're all, like, kids are way more sensitive than I think people realize. And when we heard this, we were kids, and you start thinking like, there's the homeless, and like, that's a heavy thing for a kid, can't do much about it. So I think it just always kind of sat in that, like, it like left a weight in my stomach.
Yeah. Okay. I see it.
My thoughts on this one. Something to Believe in from Flesh and Blood does not make my list. But I always enjoy this song. What I want to, and this has to be taken as a compliment. I love the simplicity of the lyrics. This is not metaphor. This is not some artsy way. This is Bret Michaels saying, my best friend died in a Palm Springs hotel room. This isn't like, he's not messing around. He's like, this is raw. I drive by the homeless sleeping in the cold, dark street. He's not saying I'm passing ghosts as I walk. Like, he is putting it down.
Yeah.
Exactly where he's at. And sometimes you need to hit people over the head. And I'm thinking, especially as when he writes about Keno, his bodyguard, who was the one who passed away, I feel like this was Bret saying, there's art, and then there's unburdening the soul. There is the moment of purging my emotions, and that is what Something to Believe in is. I applaud it for its rawness. It is heavy, and I will agree, in a live set, look, in between something like Ride the Wind and Unskinny Bop, it can be, it's a weird spot because it was such a hit. And so many bands had that. I mean, When the Children Cry is another great example of just, you're floating along in a set and it's like, ooh, and then we got to pick it back up. And but like, they do a good job with bringing the crowd in to sing with them.
Yeah.
And I like the little Lord Have Mercy on Me that Bret has added over the years. We can all talk about Bret's ad libs, and we will as those songs come up. I have no doubt. And then Bret sending this one out to the troops pretty much since 2001. It's a great moment in the show, and yet it is a moment you have to, as a band, as an audience, recover from, and that can be complicated. So we'll talk
Yeah.
more about Flesh and Blood as a whole later on. So
Yeah, it's interesting
get
what
to
you
it.
say about like the simplicity of the lyrics, because I wasn't really thinking about that, but you're right. I mean, like I think they are very mature, very serious, but like you're right, there is a simplicity to them when you
Yes.
and it is very direct. There's no, like you said, the homeless sleeping on a cold dark street. There's no shadows of
It's not poetry. It's
22,
a
22
journal
years
entry.
Yes.
22 years of mental tears, cried a suicidal Vietnam vet. Like, goes back to what you said, Carson. Like, as kids, like, that's deep. That's deep, right? A lot of our parents were in Vietnam or whatever, like, it's like, whoa, what do you do with that? So it's interesting. I see through your lens, and I've never really, never thought about it like that. But yeah, I think it's a beautiful song.
I
Agreed.
think it's one of those songs that if the lyrics were different, like let's say it's just a straight up love song, I'd probably like it more.
That's fair.
Kind of like my "You're All I Need" selection by Motley Crue.
Facts.
Nothing more lovely. All right. So my number 14, I would guess has got to be on your list. It's probably higher. But for me, this is the demon of overplaying. We've talked about this before. It's Every Rose Has Its Thorn. And it comes in very low. Should we talk about it now, or should we go into it later?
Let's talk about it, because it's my number 13.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
I
Okay.
mean, we can just,
And it's my number 12. So we're all pretty aligned. Yeah.
And I think part of this is a ballad's ballad. It's really not even a power ballad. Let's be honest. It doesn't get overly powerful. Obviously, I want to highlight CC DeVille here. His solo in this one, like so many that
killer.
he did over the course of Poison's career. But I feel like when I think of some of my favorite CC solos, they end up being on Open Up and Say Ah. But this one you sing along to. And as we talked about in the Motley Crue, I like when you can sing along to a solo. I like when a solo has a distinct melody. And this one does. This one that if CC were to mess with it live, you'd be like, the song is different now. That's how important it is. Again, lyrically, great song, great idea, a phrase that is used by people who reference it to Poison to this day. It is the song that has endured. Again, just overplayed. It wasn't my favorite when it came out either, but I think we've all been through life and we know that every rose has its thorn. And it didn't necessarily, as a kid, I didn't necessarily feel that at 7 years old when this came out. Understand it a lot better now. And again, this is Bret being your poetic, and yet the verses again are simple. And I think that is something that with Bret's writing that he is so good at, and throughout his career, is that Bret's not beating around the bush. Bret is this raw emotion, and he puts it out there. And that's actually harder in a lot of ways than it is to put the mask and the veneer of poetry on something, is to lay your heart open to your audience and hope they get it, and that they're not like, really, Bret Michaels, you couldn't keep a girl? What a loser. So I think that's just, I applaud Bret. And every time I'm going to say his lyric is simple, I'm saying it with absolute love and appreciation that that's what it should be.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
Every Rose.
So it's my 13. I mean, this one could not make my list. Right. I struggled during the week on this one, but it was honestly pretty simple. I was like, it's got to go in there. I did love this one as a kid. I know you said, it wasn't I absolutely loved it when I was younger. I still love Every Rose. Definitely falls victim, like you said. I try to not let this play in, but it's obviously you've heard, we've all heard it 20 million times. CC's solo's incredible. I mean, look, I love the lyrics. I still love, just like every cowboy sings a sad, sad song. I mean, to me, those are crazy good lyrics. I love that. I don't know why. I've always loved the cowboy type stuff. Bon Jovi did it a lot. It's a great ballad. I mean, I think it may be one of the better ballads of the genre. I think it's one of the most iconic representative ballads of the genre. It's not, right. I would have a different top 3 of ballads, but if I was playing something for somebody that had never heard a hair metal ballad, this may be, and they said, hey, you can play me 2 ballads to try to, this maybe would be one that I would choose. So I think
about it like this, which is that all the ballads that kind of came out after it, everyone's starting on the acoustic guitar.
Yep.
If you think of the ballads that came before it, your Home Sweet Homes is piano, it's electric guitar. Your Bon Jovi stuff, it's still more on the electric side. Everyone is now plugging in the acoustic, and that's how you end up even into the 90s with stuff like To Be With You. I think it begins here with that stripped down vibe, and then into your Guns N' Roses Patience, and like all of a sudden, it wasn't just MTV unplugged, it was bands unplugging.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Carsen, your
All
thoughts?
right, I have one word on my note card written for Every Rose Has Its Thorn. Perfection. That's it.
Yeah.
Perfection. That's it. This song is so perfect in the storyteller realm that you can visualize what this guy is going through. Again, we both lie silently still, like you picture that bed. And then when he talks about the DJ, I wonder, does he know, has he ever felt like this? That whether you've gone through this horrible heartbreak before in your life, or like us, we're kids, like we don't know, we only see heartbreak on television. But there's something to be said for if everybody was walking around with that kind of pain, how does anybody get anything done? How do you, but I wonder, does he know? Because is it just hurting this bad for me? And it's what to me is what makes music so connective and so powerful is it's such a specific to Bret situation. We know the story. He wrote it for the girlfriend, the laundromat, whatever. And yet it resonates with literally everybody. It's the universality of such a personal song. And like you said, starting off on the acoustic, and then you get into CC's solo, the sing-along ability of it. It is a perfect ballad. And you're right. I think that, like you said, Caton, if you were trying to introduce someone to like, hey, I love 80s hair metal. Like, I don't know what that is. Here you go. Here's what you're going to get. And I think it's such a great representation of this music, as well as the reason that we love it, because it's so easy to dismiss the pomp and the bombacity of it. But you get things like Every Rose Has Its Thorn that you can feel this man's heartbreaking, and you can't, and there's no faking that.
Agreed.
Yeah. The DJ lyric is a killer one.
Oh, it's so good. That one is so good. Carsen, your number 13, 14.
14.
I got there.
Am I the first one coming off Hollyweird?
Oh,
you
wow.
may be the only one coming off Hollywood.
No, I love the guitars on Wasteland. I love them. I love the hi-hat and guitars just right out of the gate. And I love a callback. I love a callback to Fallen Angel. And I like that it's a pretty straightforward lyrically song, but it also is a metaphor about like, I'm going to ride on through the night. Well, no, you rode through a decade. And what I especially like about this song that give me your love, take my hands. It's, to me, I could be misrepresenting, but it feels like it's not really love. It's a love for the fans, because this is coming off this 2002 that they have just gotten back into sheds for like 2 years. And those crowds are insane. And we've been hungry for Poison. And to me, Wasteland is like, hey, we appreciate you're here. And I think they felt that love coming back that I'm not sure they thought the love was ever going to be there again.
I think I can actually see what you're saying about that song lyrically. Now that I'm kind of hearing it in my head. Okay, that works. Hollyweird bought the day it came out. I was so excited. I'm just going to be honest. Nothing from Hollyweird made my list. My number one song on Hollyweird was Rockstar, and I don't even know if it would make a top 20. Like, it was just so bubbled under. I I love Poison. I even like Shooting Star, which is just Fallen Angel rewritten.
Yes.
Like same exact story, and the production is horrendous on that one. It's so thin in a bad way. It doesn't feel raw thin, it feels cheap thin. And it's just it makes it a hard listen in general. We discussed earlier, we like all the different homes. I like
Bret's home.
The way Cece sings "All It Ever Did Was Rain" just makes me smile. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta go with CC's on the.
Yeah.
We were trading text earlier to everybody listening. I think CC's version of Home is where I would have to gravitate. Yeah, so I'm Team Hyde on that one.
Do you have anything on Hollyweird on your list, Caton?
No, I don't. But I was texting these two earlier. I was out raking leaves earlier today. And, kind of as a joke, sent them a screen print of, Hollyweird. And I said, that's right. I'm covering everything. I didn't expect it to make anybody's list, to be honest, not because there's not good tunes on it. It's a good choice. That's a good choice, Carsen.
It's a solid choice out of them. Yeah.
It really is.
That's the thing. It's a thin album, to be sure. But I think when you listen to these albums and you find those songs, let's be fair. Look what the Cat dragged in. It's really hard to rank that song top to bottom because there's so many tops. Hollyweird, it ain't hard to rank top to bottom because it's all bottom.
I'll tell you something today because I hadn't listened to Hollyweird in a decade, guys. I'll tell you a song today, and I remember the first time I heard it, and it was the standout of the album for me. And then again today, I was like, man, I still love this song. And that's Wishful Thinking.
Oh.
My favorite song on that album. I love that song. You know the one I'm talking about? The give it to me, give it to me, give it to me good, Wishful Thinking.
Yeah, but you know what my problem, here's the problem. I hear that song, and it sounds to me like guys in the 90s trying to be what they thought the 80s were. And that's why I've never liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
It's a good assessment.
Yeah.
But it was weird that it came from Poison. Like if it had come from, I don't know, insert like Lit or something, I'd be like, yeah, all right, that's a Lit song. But yeah, I hate to say that because those guys love this music, but
they do. They do.
But if they were the first name I could pull, like if this was Fastball, if Fastball had done that, if they had done Wishful Thinking, I would have been like, yeah, you just wanted to be in the 80s.
Hollyweird sounds like an album of guys who are all at a very different place than they were the last time they made an album. And they were. Again, Bret at the time is shuffling around Nashville between movies and music. Cece's doing, at the time, The Stepmothers, later to become Samantha Seven. And I will say, one of the fun things I had with this list was where I would rank some Bret and some Cece songs within this list. And just quickly going into that idea that with Motley Crue, this wasn't a problem. Nothing Vince Neil put out on his own, nothing 58 did, or even 6 a.m. would have made my Motley Crue list any different. With Poison, there are some good songs to me that came out on Samantha Seven, that in Bret's solo career, that are on point with a lot of Poison songs. So,
dude, top to bottom, that Samantha Seven record is killer.
So good.
I can't even tell you how much I listened to that album when I was in college. I remember, it was probably a 3-month period, and every day going to and from class and, in my car back and forth, I listened to that album on repeat. So good. Samantha Seven was that's my favorite stuff outside of Poison by any of the Poison members. Bret has some good stuff, no doubt. There's some gems in there. I also just sidebar. I love CeCe's voice.
I do too.
I love everything about it, and I love it.
As long as you don't
can I give you my number 13?
Please.
Can we go? Are you Hyde? Are you okay with me going number 13?
I haven't done 14 yet. Or no, did I? No, I did. Yeah, okay, go ahead. Sorry, I was off.
Well, my number 13 is I Hate Every Bone in Your Body But Mine. With Cece on lyrics.
I'm going to refrain because this one is much higher in my list.
Listen, I loved, and then you go because this is your pick.
Yeah.
one of my favorite parts of that summer tour was when CC got up there and took the mic and sang that. Because I just love his voice. I love his voice and his mannerisms, and it's a killer song. So go.
CC calling out his own guitar solo is one of the greatest moments. What is he's doing his thing and he goes CC? I love it.
No, we'll get, how about, because it's going to be higher on Hyde's list, why don't we approach that when we get to it?
There you go. Because it's a lot higher.
So are you saying on that tour CC would say his own name?
Yes.
Yes.
When he finishes the second chorus and it's about to go into the guitar, instead of, the CC pick up that guitar and talk to me kind of vibe, he would, as he's about to do his solo, go CC and make his way away from the mic. It was amazing. It was so good.
Great. It was so
I don't remember that tidbit.
Poison is supposed to be a fun show, and that was a fun song with a fun vibe, and CC maintained that vibe so good. But we'll get there.
Okay, can we talk? Well, since we brought up the live of that, I want to talk about that tour in general, and like subsequently, that I think part of the reason that Hyde and I remember that so much is because we went so many times. Because Bret would do that thing where he'd announce and go, hey, if you bought a ticket, you bought a ticket for tonight's show, I know how hard times are. And if you show up tomorrow night and you bring your ticket stub, we'll let you in for free. And so, like, we lived in the Northeast, we're in Connecticut. And so the next show is an hour and a half away in Boston. So we're like, we got nothing to do on a Saturday night. We'll go see Poison for free in Boston. So we saw that tour, and I think he did it for a couple of years that way. Yep. So we saw it so much that you got used to those little nuances of like CC throwing himself a guitar solo. You got to really pay attention to it. And it was so much fun. It was a party, and he wasn't stupid. The promoters were like, hey, we're going to sell more beer. Mm-hmm. And it was such a smart thing to do. And that's why we got like almost like overserved on those tours.
They were good tours to be overserved on, so it was fine.
Yeah, I never knew they did that ticket offer. That's insane.
Yep.
Never knew that. And it worked. I mean, no hassle. Yes. They just let you in for free.
You got a lawn seat. Like, it's not like you got
lawn.
But that was the point. Just packed out the lawn.
Yeah.
Yep. We did it a bunch of times. It was so good.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Never knew that was an option.
It was great. It was a different time. Number 13 on my list. I was going to leave it out. And honestly, for years, I left it out. But I heard you. And you wanted it to come back. So now it's back in the list.
I'm just glad it's back in the set list after all these years. It's back in
the list after all these years. It is Ride the Wind. And we'll explain all that in a minute. But I want to talk about the song itself. I have never been on a motorcycle in my life, so I can't tell you that I understand the vibe. But again, going to Bret's lyrics, with modern warriors saddle iron horses of chrome is just that's good. Like that's the tingle down your spine that is so good. And again, it's a song that, to me, if you're driving in a convertible, top down, hair blowing in the wind that you're riding, like, just a great, fun, adventurous song. If you're making a road songs playlist for a long drive, you put Ride the Wind on there, because it's up there with your holiday roads. And like, this is what it's about. It's about being on the road, but in this particular case, on a motorcycle, in theory. Just a great song. And I love the pre-chorus on this one. I've always liked Rebels Born Without a Care and The Day He Listens. I love that call and response.
Same.
Only to fly where eagles dare, and the night she whispers. I love that. Like, it was so, again, tingles. Like, this is a goosebump song. And that's the best thing I could say about it.
That's probably my favorite part of the song, what you just mentioned, that pre-chorus, those lyrics and just the tone of it. And 100%, that has grabbed me from the first time I heard it, and still does. So very interesting that kind of nuanced piece is one of your favorites, because same, yeah.
100%.
And like, I love Battle Scars and Lonely Bars.
Yep.
Like, it's 5 words. It is 5 words, but I can see it clear as my head, and it is an entire movie. It's not even just a picture.
Yeah.
All right, so we need to get to work on writing "Ride the Wind" the movie.
That's
But
Yeah,
also on my list.
Oh, okay. Is it like close to here?
Yeah,
Or is
it's
it
close.
later?
It was 10. It was 10.
That's not bad.
Because I mean, look, it was going to be out of my list, but yeah, I mean, I heard you. I heard you. So
to explain this a little bit, Caton, did you see them in '99 with Rat, LA Guns, and Great White?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I missed a Poison Summer
Now
tour.
that's the only one Carsen did not go to.
I did not. No.
You were working at the time, but I went to that one, and indeed, "Ride the Wind" was not in the set in 1999.
Oh, wow. Is that right?
It was not. And I remember at the time thinking how much I wanted to hear it. So apparently Bret heard me. No, but I remember "Let It Play" was in the set, which I thought was an odd choice versus "Ride the Wind." And I love "Let It Play." That one actually bubbled under my list and it hurt to take it off. So we'll see if anybody else has it or not. But for me, I wanted it and it just fell off at the end. But I remember at the time going, okay, like this might be the one time we see Poison ever again, because in the 90s it felt like that. It felt like these bands just disappeared and we didn't know if we'd ever see them again. So I made it a point in 99 to go. And then I made it a point every year afterwards that they played to make sure I went. Just never knowing whether or not it would be the last time. And in 2000 is when Bret announced "Ride the Wind" by saying, you know, we left this one out of the set. You asked for it. You wanted it back. We brought it on back. This is "Ride the Wind." Let me just tune this guitar up right here. You know,
And he's been saying it for 25 years since then.
always.
We put this one back in the set. We heard you. I mean, if they tour for the 40th, you will hear Bret Michaels say that. We listened to you. This is back in the set.
Caton, when we saw him in South Haven, I think he gave the speech with the Bret Michaels band. Like, we were ready for it. We were just ready. We're like, do this. And, you know, part of what makes the Poison show fun is, yes, if you go to as many as the three of us collectively have, Bret's little ad libs don't change all that much year to year, show to show, and you come to love them. You come to be ready for them. Just like any band, when they throw that mic out at that one particular point in that song, you love being the stupid diehard who knows, just wait a minute, we're going to sing along with this one. It's just the way we are as fans, and we all have been there. We all know it, and that's part of the love of it.
Imagine if they played "Ride the Wind" and Bret didn't say that. You would feel like it's missing. You would be like, you would be so disappointed. And that's like, we live for that moment in the show. We absolutely do.
Yep.
It might be better than the song.
So this was higher for me. This was number 6 for me.
Let's get to it then. Let's get to it later then. I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, but I do want to say this. Scout's Honor. You took my, I mean, I was going to say, hey guys, I listened. It's back on my list. So, I mean, that's ingrained in all three of us.
It is.
Like you said, I mean, that is just as much part of Poison as CC pick up that guitar and talk to me is.
Agreed.
In my mind.
Agreed.
So,
yeah. I think I'm trying to remember. I'm not even sure that he played it because I got to go see Bret do Crossroads, which is the country mashup thing a couple years ago. And I'm not even sure "Ride the Wind" was in the set list, but I remember being like, I mean, if they play "Ride the Wind," he's got to say that, right? Like, even though it's a totally different thing, it's a TV show, he's got a country artist with him, I'd be like, I wanted to be like, hey, Chris Jansen, you know, we've been taking this out of the set list, but I heard everybody. I was about to be like, if he doesn't do, like, it would have never worked, but I would have been like, I need it though, Bret. I need you. Like, that is as important to me as you playing Nothing But a Good Time.
Well, Bret heard my thoughts. So not only am I responsible for Sexy back being a single, I'm also responsible for "Ride the Wind" being back in the set. You're welcome. All right, going on. Number 13. Carsen already gave us hers. Caton, what you got for 13?
I think I did 13.
Oh.
Right?
Carsen, yours was Every Bone, right?
Yeah, I did. Because, mine was Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
What was yours, Carsen?
Yeah.
Yours was Every Bone.
Every Bone, right.
Not every rose, but every bone. Gotcha. Okay, so now we're on to 12.
The dichotomy of Poison. Every rose, every bone, right? You get both sides, man.
Man, if only you could go back in time.
Yep. So hey, we are we're playing off
12.
each other. We're playing off each other nicely here, because for everybody listening, we do not share these lists with each other before. So we have not shared. So my number 12 is "Let It Play."
There it is.
Number
Yay!
12 is Let It Play from Flesh
Oh,
and Blood. So
I'm so happy you put it on there because it hurt me to take it off. So
That
take it
was
away.
one of my alternates.
yeah, there was no scenario that wasn't going to be on my list. I thought it would. I'll be honest. I was shocked that it dropped to number 12.
Okay.
I thought it would probably be like when we first said we were going to do this, I would have said Let It Play would probably be a top 5 for me. It's one of my favorites, all Flesh and Blood. I love the intro. I mean, I love the intro. You know, the when I hear the music, Lord God, I love the intro. I guess maybe some people could think that was kind of hokey, but I think it's cool.
No.
Yeah.
So good.
But I just love it. I love when it kicks in. I mean, I love Rikki's hi-hat. I mean, I love it. You know, did you ever get up on the wrong side of bed with the aching head just falling apart? I love the lyrics. It's one of my favorites. Let It Play.
I love that you bring up Rikki's hi-hat because, in talking about Motley Crue, we talked about the strength of Tommy Lee's drums. And with no particular offense to Rikki, I don't think that's going to come up a lot throughout like our conversation as far as like building a band around Rikki. Rikki's hi-hat work. Because even Carsen mentioned hi-hat earlier. There's like one song in my head that's not on my list, so I'm not going to talk about it in case it's on someone else's. But like when I think of his hi-hat work on this other song, it's like, the hi-hat doesn't stand out as this big thing for a lot of drummers, especially in this genre. Rikki knew how to work it. And so just to piggyback on that, I want to give Rikki Rocket a little bit of flowers here because that hi-hat, which to a lot of people is just that timekeeper, that incidental thing, Rikki turns it into a work of art. And it's funny, you said it, Carsen said it, so I just wanted to seize that moment and go in on it. Just real quick on Let It Play. Like I said, this was an alternate. It was in the list at one point. So good. Just, I love the sentiment of it. When I hear the music, like this is, in 99, I liked it. I liked that they played it. I really wanted to hear Ride the Wind. I was sad to see it eventually as the sets got tighter. It fell out probably by 2001.
Oh,
when they really started playing the Power to the People songs and then eliminating it altogether.
I'd chill to hear this song live now.
That's the thing. I would love to.
I don't remember them playing it when you're talking about, so I know I heard it and loved it, but I would, I'd love to hear this song live now. There's so many Poison songs I would kill to hear live now,
All right. We just need to have a private concert. We need to raise the funds for that.
We'll get that.
Well, go fund me for a private Poison concert.
With Let It Play, the word that always comes to mind for me is testimonial. That this is a like hands up, but not just like, oh yeah, fists up, but it's also the testimonial song. And when you go to a Poison show, Bret is preaching. He absolutely is. And I think this is such a like huge high level, it's high level evidence of that, even just being on an album.
Yeah. No, I agree.
All right, Carsen, you're number 12. Or did we hit that one? Or was that Every Rose?
It was Every Rose, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right,
hey, so real quick on Rikki. Real quick on Rikki, because I don't think this will come back up. I think all of Poison gets a bad rap about, you hear the age-old, comment about CC. Oh, CC's not a great player. Man, I think CC's a great guitar player. I think his solos are incredible. And same with Rikki. I kind of feel like I love Rikki. I grew up a drummer. When I was a kid. I mean, yes. I mean, who did I want to be? Yes, I wanted to be Tommy Lee. I recognized a difference there. I think Rikki's a great drummer, and I think of Rikki a lot like I think of Steven Adler and the swing that he brought to Guns N' Roses that we've talked about before. Technicality is not what it is all about in glam rock. It's just not. And, Poison would not be the same band without Rikki Rocket. He brought something like Steven Adler brought, to Guns N' Roses, even though Matt Sorum was technically a better drummer, in my opinion. So I don't know. I always dug Rikki Rocket. Maybe his drum solos weren't as good as Tommy Lee's or whatever. But man, when I was a kid, he was one of my favorite drummers for sure.
when I was taking drum lessons as a kid, and I got to the point where my instructor was like, "Hey, do you want to bring in some songs to learn how to play along with things? Like you've got the basics down now." I brought in "Swallow This Live," straight up. That was and I say that as a Rush fan. I say that as someone who loves so much music that like I wanted to be Ricky Rocket before I wanted to be Neil Peart. And obviously something there. And to be honest, my drum teacher scoffed. He was like, "Oh, really? We're gonna put on the Ricky Rocket drum solo and let's play it." And the point is, I don't know what you want out of a drum solo. I don't want, hey, look, I could do flams and paradiddles. I mean, Peter Criss made a lot of money doing triplets and pointing at the crowd. There's not a bad thing in that. Neil Peart puts together a drum solo that is designed to be Neil Peart and designed for the fans of Neil Peart, and it works, and it's great, and I love it. I much rather also enjoy the Peter Criss dum ga digga da dum bum bum. Hey, so like I never have an issue with simple. Again, it wouldn't have made sense to have, let's say, Matt Sorum in Poison in '86. It wouldn't have made sense. You needed someone who could just lay down the beat in a solid way and let the other guys paint over that canvas. I don't think there's a weak link in the Poison group at all. And I think it's also why they split the publishing 4 ways, was because, you know what? We are all equal, regardless of who brought this song in and maybe even got it to completion. We're all equal in this.
Yep. No, I'm glad we're giving Rikki some love.
As we should.
All right, who's up?
We are on
Carsen?
number 12 still.
Are you on? Did you guys?
Yeah, I gotta go. 12. Mine is from Flesh and Blood.
Oh.
A lot of Flesh and Blood on here, which is great. I even brought my Flesh and Blood hat.
Oh, I remember that. I remember you wearing that.
Yeah, I had to buy it for the Poison Motley Def Leppard because I had Def Leppard shorts, I had a Motley shirt, and I needed to wear a Poison hat to make sure I equally represented all 3 bands at every show I went to on the tour.
And that's how we found you in every video.
Yes,
because the neon hat was there. We can find you in people's videos.
I was like security.
I went to that show with you too. I remember well the get up that you had on for that.
So good.
That was awesome.
So good. That's one of my favorite.
We had
of all time,
well, that was the one right before game time. Poison had to cancel. They dropped out because Bret was sick.
Crushed.
Dude, right? So what did we do? 2 weeks later, we went to Cleveland. Because I was like, we got to see Poison, and I sprung for the front row, Caton. I paid the money for the front row on the stadium tour, and I'll tell you what. I mean, CC threw me a guitar pick, and some guy next to me like fought me over it, which is fine, but he threw it at me because I was a girl. Come on, man. Was that worth it though for CC DeVille to throw me a guitar pick? Yes, that was worth every hundreds that became thousands of dollars that I spent.
I mean, it kind of sucks that you just call me some guy. You had it coming. Not me. Just kidding.
It was.
I didn't see him on that tour.
No.
And for everybody listening, this was in Nashville, and the 3 of us were at that show together. And here's what made it sting even more for me. So, I mean, Poison is who I wanted to see on that tour.
Yes.
I mean, that was my number one. I was wearing a Poison shirt there that day. I mean, I was so, and it had been a while since I had seen Poison live. I was so excited. Here's what I think made it sting even more is that they were there. So for people listening, they walked out on stage, and I knew before they jumped to the mic that they were canceling because there had been rumblings. But when I saw CC walk out in street clothes, who was it that came out? CC
all
and
3
Rikki?
of them. CC, Rikki, and Bobby.
All 3.
And when they came, and so that's what made it sting even more is like you knew they were in the building, you knew they were there. And, you know, I struggled like for the first 30 minutes of Def Leppard or whoever was next. Like I was so bummed out. Like I was like, you got to snap out of it, Caton, and enjoy this thing. But I was crushed that they had to cancel that show. Was it COVID? Is that what Bret had? I can't remember.
No, it was something else, but it was just, you know, he had one of his episodes.
I thought it was respiratory. You may be like, I'm not sure it was COVID, but I think you may be right that it's in that.
But he did like, I don't know if it was the next show, but maybe 2 after that. Like he was back pretty quick, but he just kind of needed like an overnight stay kind of thing. Again, Bret's not had an easy road for the last 40 years of rock and roll. And the fact that he's still rocking with us, giving us 120% at every show he does, we're fortunate. We are fortunate.
Looking as great as he does, like he's so in shape, he's so energetic. Again, he's such the consummate frontman. And was it like, yes, did I leave at 3 a.m? Like, as I called the audible on Cleveland, I pulled the trigger at 8 o'clock. I think it was a Thursday show. I bought those tickets at 8 o'clock on Wednesday night, and I slept for 5 hours. I got up at 3 and I drove to Cleveland and was like, I called my parents and I'm like, hey, we're gonna be crashing. So, like, I mean, that's a Motley callback. Like, they said I could crash if I could find my own way. But I was straight up like, we missed Poison.
Yep.
And I hate to have, and so I was like, we're going to make up for it.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're sidebarring here, but this is good stuff. You're right, though, Hyde. I mean, I think that sometimes, fans of this genre that have seen the tours so much or that are passionate like we are, you can kind of take things for granted and, you can say, well, boy, I sure wish Poison would mix up the set list a little bit more. And I wish they would. Or, Bret's, his shtick and some of the things he says over and over, we actually love that. But, he is still in peak form. And compared to others in the genre, he's in peak form. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's just, we don't need to take that for granted because we all know that we still go see bands that we know we're probably not going to get the best show, but we still, for nostalgia or whatever, we still go. That's not the case with Poison. I mean, he gives it 1,000,000%. Listen, they all do.
All 4 members, evenly.
They all, evenly, down to Bobby. I mean, not down to Bobby. I'm just saying all of them. I mean, CC, of course. But Rikki always gives it his all. Bobby gives it his all. Bret. So, I mean, they're one of the better live bands today from that genre. And, I just hope we get a 40th anniversary tour for Look What the Cat Dragged In or, another tour at some point down the line. I think we will. But, Poison's just, they're stellar live still. So if you, for some reason, haven't seen them. Yeah.
Always a party. So my number 12 is from Flesh and Blood. It is Life Goes On. Not sure if this is on anybody else's list.
It was an alternate for me.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep.
Just straight from the kickoff on this one. Love CeCe's intro on this. I don't even know if you'd really call it a riff. It's almost just like soloing over what's happening, but in a really cool way. Again, very tasteful. Great lyrics. The presentation, I love the little harmonies that are thrown in throughout. This one I've always thought this is production wise a fantastic song, compositionally a fantastic song, and when this one comes on, it's a do not skip in my world. So like we were saying, Flesh and Blood has that maturity to it, and this to me is your prime example. This is possibly by 1990 ahead of some other guys in the genre who've been at it longer. This just has I can't picture this song sitting on Look What the Cat Dragged In, and it just wouldn't make sense. So I just go, this is that prime example of how good they were at this point.
Yeah, this is I'll go next just because this is my number 11. So again, I promise you we don't share these lists, guys. This is crazy. This is my number 11. I echo everything you said. A few other things that I jotted down for Life Goes On. One of my favorite Poison ballads for sure. Mm-hmm. There was no way it wasn't going to make the list. Listen, I'll be curious if this stands out to you from memory, or if you'll have to go back tonight and listen to it. I think hands down, this is my favorite CeCe DeVille guitar solo of any Poison song. It is easily his longest solo of any Poison song. The dude does not stop. It's almost like there's two solos. There's almost like an intro solo, and then there's the real solo where he just plugs it in and just goes nuts. And it is it's one of his better solos. It's my favorite of any, I think. So go back and listen to it tonight, and it's just so long. I remember like listening to it this week, and I was like, oh my gosh, this solo does not end. So that's one thing that you know, I had to kind of refresh this week. I knew it was one of my favorite ballads, knew it was one of my favorite Poison songs, but I had kind of forgotten just how stellar CeCe's guitar work is on it.
Agreed.
And I'll tell you, with this song, when I was kind of making my notes, and like I said, it fell out of my 15. But one of the things I talked about with this song specifically was the juxtaposition on Flesh and Blood, that this is the same album that gave us Life Goes On, which is just, again, another heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching. We've all felt that despair. And it also is the album that gave us Don't Give Up an Inch, and gave us Unskinny Bop. Like when, and that was, and it's not even meant to like talk poorly of those songs, but it's the, wow, we let Poison really expand themselves creatively, because, and we can talk about Open Up Say Ah and Look What the Cat Dragged In, but there really is an overall sonic, you know, the word, I can't think of the word right now, but it's like, sonically, it's all kind of in the same ballpark. And I feel like we really, Flesh and Blood, they got to go, oh, like you can get out of this ballpark. You're going to take it outside. You're going to the parking lot now and shit. We'll take it to the bar next door afterwards. That you just got so much more depth and you got so much more color. And they really let them, I think, experiment, or I'll even say the record label experimented with what they let them put on this record. And Life Goes On is such a, it's such a, God, like to be still the ages that they were for a song like that. Yeah. When you start looking back at that and you go, God, that came out of you at that age. Like I couldn't imagine like being able to put that into words, put those kind of emotions at that age. Like that feels so much more mature than what they actually were.
Yeah, I always loved the lyric. That, but one fear I kept to myself, how I prayed that you'd love no one else, like you're saying you love. Always loved that lyric. Bret wrote some good lyrics, man, or whoever wrote that. I mean, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I think Bret gets attributed most of the lyrics, but I don't know that that's actually true or not. Because again, everything's attributed to all four guys. You know, Bret seems to have a style, but I don't know. I honestly don't know a lot of these lyrics. We know, obviously, something like Something to Believe In or Every Rose Has a Thorn. The stories are out there. I don't know. For all I know, Bobby Doll's sitting back going, you're welcome for Unskinny Bop, my friends. Let's see. Carsen, did we do your number 12?
Yeah, it was Every Rose.
Okay, so we're on number 11 for you.
Yeah. Mine came off Crack a Smile. And it's funny because this was mentioned in a text thread earlier about Be the One.
Oh, I'm so glad it's represented, because go.
Okay. Well, okay. Here's the thing with me as a rabid Rolling Stones fan, and we know Bret is as well, that the beginning is so trippy and so Satanic Majesties, which actually I really am not a fan of that record, as Hyde well knows. But there is something, he's making faces at me because he knows I'm just not the biggest fan of that. But it is like, oh, I feel like I'm hearing like the fandom come through in there. And then when it kicks in, the guitar rolls and I go, oh, we're taking it back to Look What the Cat Dragged In. Like, I feel like we are rewinding to 85 with this song. And then musically, when you listen to it, do you get that musical callback to I Won't Forget You in some of the guitar? I feel like there is a hint of I Won't Forget You in that, which is, again, it's the idea that you wrote something kind of familiar and yet it's still fresh and it's new. And I think it's like that beginning of, you know, we're doing the tours and it's just I love, again, I told you guys earlier, I love a yearn. I love a beg. I'm a big fan of men doing that. Big fan.
Yeah, it's my favorite It's my favorite song off Crack a Smile. I mean, there's no question. It's. I mean, I wrote down only a few songs that it pained me to leave off my list, so I didn't do a bunch of alternates. I wrote down only a few. Don't Give Up an Inch is one of them. But Be the One is one of them. I think it's an incredible song. And I love the crunch of when it goes into the chorus, you know, I love
Yep.
that guitar crunch. I mean, it's so good. So good. Yeah.
So does that
And I
mean
love
Caden,
it.
you don't have anything from Crack a Smile on your list?
No.
Wow.
Oh. And see,
No.
to me, I love it because it's that, like, now that we've gotten Poison back, and even though it's buried on the record, like it's not the lead off song, but it really felt like we're again, it was back to Poison. It was back to the band that I've missed, and back to honestly what we'd all been waiting on.
Now, going into Crack a Smile real quick here on this one, just because Crack a Smile is, when it was unreleased in the metal world or whatever, I just remember people raving about how good this album was because leaked copies had gotten out to people and people going nuts over it. When it finally got put out as Crack a Smile and More, I mean, I love it. I think it's so good. Down to the cover of Rolling Stone. I like that cover. It's so good. So many good songs on there. But I actually felt there was a disservice to the album done by the record company, which was holding it for 10 years. But beyond that, putting Gotta Face the Hangman on there. Because you listen to the whole Crack a Smile album, and then they throw on this throwaway track with CC, and when that CC guitar kicks in, you've been listening, you're like, man, this is Poison. This is no, that's Poison. And when you hear Gotta Face the Hangman, you're like, no, that's what Poison sounds like, which is nothing, obviously, against Blues Saraceno or even Rikki Kotzen on Native Tongue. But you go through this album and it's Poison. And then you hit that last song, which is a throwaway, and you go, actually, that's Poison. And you hit that last song, and it almost negates the album.
Yeah.
Because that's Poison. That's what sounds like
Because the
Poison.
guitars on Face the Hangman are straight up. You're so right. And I love Bret getting growly on that song.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
But yeah, you're spot on though, because it's almost like Crack a Smile's a good album.
Yes.
Right. It's not my favorite. Some people do rave about it. It's not my favorite, but it's a good album. And you can get lost in it and kind of forget that classic Poison sound a little bit and kind of, oh man, this is good. This is good. And then you kind of get slapped in the face. It's like, oh man, you're right, because it just takes you back to, yeah, it didn't fit putting it on there. It didn't.
No, absolutely not. And that's the thing about it, was it was a great bonus track to try to get maybe a casual to buy it. Like, hey, here's a new track with CC, and all the acoustic tracks I think were on there, the unplugged stuff. But like, it was all of a sudden like it was that reminder of this is what Poison sounds like, and what I just listened to, I thought was Poison until I heard this. It was a weird thing.
So
but
that was a leftover track from
Open Up
when?
and Say Ah era.
From Open Up and Say Ah, or was it more like Swallow This Live type?
No, it's an Open Up
era.
and Say Ah. It says it right on the disc, as I recall.
Okay.
It is. I've got it. I got the printout. It's literally Open Up and Say Ah outtake.
Yep.
Wow.
There you go. So I'm going to go into mine just because mine is also from Crack a Smile, my number 11. Doing As I Seen on My TV. I love this song. Now, I'm guessing, Carsen, do you have any more Crack a Smile on your list?
I do not.
Okay. I love this song, especially when paired with Tragically Unhip.
Yes.
It's a 1-2 punch. I also feel like, I don't know that whenever anybody decided to put this album out, I don't know that anybody put any effort into what the track list was doing, because it makes no sense. I would have separated Tragically Unhip and Doing As I Seen on My TV, because vibe, they're the same thing. And then
the sequencing is off.
The sequencing makes no sense. It's almost like you'd think it was alphabetical or something.
Yeah.
It's like someone just said, here's the songs as presented, throw them together. It just doesn't, there's no flow to the album at all. And I don't feel like that's intentional by anybody. I feel like it was just, let's put this out. Capitol Records paid for it. Let's try to recoup some losses on it. I love this album. And yet when I started going through and putting songs, this is my only song from Crack a Smile, which was shocking. And Tragically Unhip and Doing As I Seen were fighting for this spot. And then Bret kind of wrote it again with Party Rock Band from the Letter from Death Row soundtrack. I think Bret was trying to find his place. How are you just over one day and no one's returning your phone calls? And this was the way it was for these guys. And so he's like, I'm nothing now, down to the point of, he wrote in a few different songs the idea that the record company wants him to kill himself. And I believe that's a true story. I believe the record company is sitting there going, we look what it did for Nirvana. If you just eat a bullet, maybe this would help you out. Like, it's mentioned in Tragically Unhip. It's mentioned in Party Rock Band. Doing As I Seen on My TV is just fun. It's a fun song, and it's the most Poison sounding song on an album that in the end doesn't actually sound like Poison. It sounds like a great Bret Michaels solo album. And I don't even say that as I know he wrote everything. I don't think he did, but it's moving to that vibe. It's Bret moving away a little bit and the band not really sure what they are. Blues, what he brought to it was fantastic. He did his job in crazy well. That album shouldn't be as good as it is. It's just like we said earlier, when you hit Gotta Face the Hangman, you remember what Poison's supposed to sound like. So again, I love Doing As I Seen on My TV. It's just a fun little skit song, but it's got the line about would you respect me more if I took my life? Tried to act, but my career just flopped, so I beat up my neighbor and I got on cops. Cool. I love it. It's a fun song, and love for Crack a Smile. It is a great album.
Yeah. It's a good song. It's a great song. It's a fun song. I'm glad Crack a Smile's represented on here. I'm definitely glad, Carsen, your last pick. And sidebar, I tell you what, man, I was giving love to Samantha 7 earlier. I love my favorite thing Bret's probably ever done is that Letter from Death Row soundtrack. I love that. Is that the one that has Little Willie on it?
Yes.
I love those songs, man. So give Bret.
I got to tell you a story about that album, and I don't Kate. You might have known this. I'm trying to remember. We were friends then. It might have been right before we met. But there was a record store in the Oxford Mall, and I went one day, and they were giving away sacks, just like straight up plastic bags stuffed with things that I think it was promo things that they just had been sent because they were a record store. And they didn't sell them. And maybe I went to go buy a CD or something, and they hand me this sack. And it was a bunch of people I'd never heard of. And then in there, in its little cardboard sleeve, was Letters from Death Row. And I was like, did you just give me a Bret Michaels album? This is amazing. For free? I didn't have to pay for this? And I was like, okay. And so that thing sat in my car for ever. That was just when you had to hook up the CD player via you had to plug it into your car because you're a little Discman. My car didn't have a CD player then. And I remember getting that at the Oxford Mall for free.
Wow. That's cool. That's cool.
It was.
Yeah.
It was it's just that all people to give that to.
Yeah. It's funny. You just totally brought back a brain flash. I remember that record store very well in there. I feel like it wasn't there towards the end of our college career, right?
May not
because I just remember early on, but yeah. Did you like Letters from Death Row? Did you
the
like
movie
that
or
album?
the song?
No, the songs, the soundtrack. I enjoyed it. I liked it.
Oh, it's a great soundtrack. I like a lot of Bret's solo stuff. I liked when he put out his first one that after that one that had stuff like Bittersweet. I think it was Songs of Life. I love Bittersweet. I love Menace to Society. I like the song Right Here, Right Now is so good. I like the song Rain for his daughter. Bret did some really, really cool stuff, including the Show Me Your Hits tribute album to Poison.
Yeah. Rain is a great song.
Oh, so good.
I forgot about that one. That's a beautiful song. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If it was me looking at this list, there's that part of you that always wants to bring in the solo stuff of the band, because if I'm in a Poison mood, I may come across Menace to Society and I'm good. It's not Poison, but it fits in the playlist kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And I interviewed Bret about 5 years ago when I was on in West Virginia, and I was specifically told, don't really bring up Poison stuff. This is about the solo show. And that makes all the sense in the world to me, that's what we're doing. And I already know that. That's what you do when you're doing these interviews.
Sure.
And so I asked him, what can we expect, this weekend when we see you? And he's like, we're bringing back the old Poison songs. We're starting it right at the beginning with "Look What the Cat Dragged In." So like he's telling you the first song in the set, and
He
he's like,
opened the door for you.
yeah. And so then I'm like, okay, well, I want you to know I'm putting in a request right now for Bittersweet or for Menace to Society. Those are two of my favorites. And he was like, Hyde, I love you for saying that. He's like, you know what? Maybe we can see if we can do Bittersweet for you. Now, the postscript to that is that when we got off the air, Bret hung up immediately. Like interview over. Usually in these interviews, you kind of do a little wrap up after the call. Bret hung up. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're done. All right, good to know. He calls back. And the point is, I think he's trying to make sure you're not recording anymore. This is now for you, kind of a thing. So Bret calls back and he says, he's like, are you going to be at the show? Because I want to do something special for you. And I go, actually, Bret, I'm going to be in Boston seeing the Rolling Stones that night. And he goes, of all the reasons I've ever heard not to be at a show, I'm with you. I'd go see the Rolling Stones too.
That's
it was
great.
So fun. It was so
That's
fun.
cool.
And I felt bad because, of course, I would have loved to have been there. Bret's never a bad show. And obviously he would have taken care of us all nice, which would have been great. But, I hate missing a Bret show, but I already had the tickets to the Stones. So what are you going to do?
Makes you wonder what he was going to do for you.
Probably just make sure we got a picture or whatnot. And, all good. Again, he didn't know me anything.
That's killer that he called back, though.
It was.
That's really
one of
cool.
The most cool experiences I've ever had. Bret is real deal. Bret is so good. So just a good human being, just straight up. So that was number 11. Caton, did we do your 11?
Did we do my 11?
I don't think so.
Yes, it was Life Goes On.
Okay, so we've done everybody's 11.
Yep.
So number 10. God, I feel like Life Goes On was already a long time ago. Let's go to Carsen's 10.
Mine was Ride the Wind, which we've talked about.
Okay. Anything further to add?
Oh, did we want to talk more about Ride the Wind? I don't.
Oh no. Or is that higher on?
Are we saving it
higher
for
on
Caton's
list? Yes.
Okay. It's higher on mine.
Yeah. Then we're gonna. We'll stairway to that.
Caton, you're number 10.
All right. Before I give my number 10, Carsen, what's the rest of that shirt?
It's a bootleg.
Yeah. Is that a bootleg?
I think so, because it's got Tesla on the back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know. So I can't tell where my camera is. Sorry.
I've seen that before, and I think that's one of my favorite Poison shirts I've seen, with the different colors of the Open Up and Say Ah, the eyes. I always love that one. All right. So my number 10 is, look, this album right here, Open Up and Say Ah, has some of my all-time favorite album cuts that were not singles. And this is one of them. And I'm surprised it wasn't higher than 10, but dadgummit, I loved it when I was 12, 13 years old. And I love it when I'm almost 49, Tearing Down the Walls.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, screaming, scratching, tearing down the walls, little by little, inch by inch, tearing down the walls. I love this song. There's something about it. I think this could have done really well as a single. I think it could have been really successful. I don't think this is the only one that could have been floated for a single and done really well too. But yeah, Tearing Down the Walls, always loved it. Had to make my list, and happy it made the top 10.
No, that's such a fun one, and like you said, it's goes to what I said about Poison kind of being a pop band. Every song has a hook. Every song has that sensibility to it. And again, I don't mean that in a negative way at all. It's a good thing. They wrote good songs that you could take almost any song off the album and it could be a potential single. Like, okay, if for some reason it goes on that Thriller Hysteria run, what is single number 5? What is single number 6? What could be single number 7? And Poison had that lineup was always ready to go. And Tearing Down the Walls is a perfect example.
Yeah, and it's such a blatant song. Like, it's so like practice what I preach. Like, it's just right there in it. That's what I always think of with that song.
All right.
I love CC's solo on it too.
Oh yeah.
I love CC's guitar solo on Tearing Down the Walls.
It's a good one. Again, CC to me, I feel like almost every song, as long as he's on it, I can tell you I love his guitar solo. CC, again, I don't know the reputation or why people think the way they do. To me, it's one of those that CC always has some of the best, most tasteful guitar solos, and they become they are part of the song as much as the lyrical line, in my opinion, in so many ways. I too went the bootleg route.
Oh, Skid Row on there. Nice.
That was 03, right?
Yes, this was 03, the first time they toured with only 2 other bands and not 3.
Yeah.
And I actually bought this one because of Skid Row. To be honest, I bought it only a few years ago after Johnny Solinger passed. And I realized I didn't have any Johnny Solinger era shirts anymore. And I was like, I want something with his picture on it. And this is the one that happened to go. Definitely saw this tour a few times. So good. Vince was really good on this tour, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
It was just a solid lineup.
Is that an exposed era Vince Neil picture on the bottom?
Oh my God, yes.
Yes.
He
Love
looked just like that in 2003.
Yeah,
sure
I love it, man. Yeah, that shirt just screams bootleg. I love it.
It's so great.
That's what you gotta love about it.
That tour, when it was rolling in 2003, I had moved to Nashville Labor Day weekend of 2003. I literally rolled into town on Labor Day, on that Monday. Had to start work on Tuesday. And I had gotten online, checked tour dates because, there's no like social media to do that. And I found out that tour was going to be in Nashville that Monday night. So I dropped my stuff at my extended stay hotel. I go to the front desk and I'm like, hey, where's the Am South Amphitheater? How do I get there from here? And the guy's like, I've never heard of the Am South. And I'm like, okay, I've been here 10 minutes. I feel like you've been here a little longer. Have you never heard? Like Poison's playing there tonight. And he goes, well, like, do you mean Starwood? And I'm like, I don't know. It says Am South on this website. And it turns out he was talking about Starwood, which is very beloved and it no longer exists, but amphitheater in Nashville. So here I am. I have just rolled into town. I've driven from Connecticut and stopped in Pennsylvania along the way. And I threw on my Poison shirt and I just take myself to the show. I buy a ticket at the box office and I'm walking around. Some guy stops me. He's like, hey, that's a great shirt. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Like, thank you for noticing my fit. And then there's some dude walking around in a Slaughter shirt, like a Slaughter baseball jersey. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then he turns around and it's Mark Slaughter. And I was like, oh, Mark Slaughter's at the Poison show. Where did I? This is pretty dope. And so that was like
wearing a Slaughter shirt.
Wearing a Slaughter jersey, hand to God, he was. But it's still like
guys are promotion machines. It never stopped.
He didn't want anybody to recognize him. Nobody.
No. But it was. But I go, that was literally my welcome to Nashville. Is I took myself to go see Poison.
That's all. And then sidebar. I mean, I'm going back a million years ago. Your house was very near the Starwood, right? Yeah, I remember coming to your house in Antioch, and it wasn't the Starwood actually in Antioch, Tennessee.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that when Hyde and I bought the house. It was I used to like drive on the highway to get to the amphitheater because I didn't know. And people are like, no, sweetie, if you go out here and you take a right, it's like in your backyard. And I remember like sitting out one night listening. I was like, oh wow, I can hear, and you could hear concerts from our house, but I could
hear Tommy Lee do the titty cam.
Yeah,
one night.
Yeah,
because Tommy Lee, everyone.
Because Tommy Lee, but yeah, so that was I saw that tour that like hadn't even been in Nashville 12 hours.
My number 10 has already been mentioned by Caton, and it is So Tell Me Why. And what?
That is my number 9.
Oh, well, there we go. So we all love So Tell Me Why.
We do.
Which is a good thing. Again, we've already talked about it a little bit, but just to me, again, this was such a cool song as your leadoff single from your 4 bonus tracks on Swallow This Live. It just, again, it feels like it could fit right in on Flesh and Blood in the best way. Great chorus on it. I love the ending with the big stops. The So Tell Me Why, stop. and then do it again. Like so good. Just a great composition. And again, we obviously all are fans of this song, and shows that maturity again. What I will say about So Tell Me Why, it is this Caton did a switch. What I will say about So Tell Me Why is that it is not my highest ranked bonus track from Swallow This Live.
Nice. I think I
So
know
Carsen,
where that's going.
So Carsen, go ahead. About
I mean, you know what? I think I can say the same.
there you go.
It is not my highest ranked either. I don't think. Nope, it's not.
There you go.
Look at
See,
that.
that says
Okay.
a lot for the dying
It does
days
say a lot.
of
So yeah,
the original
but I know
lineup.
we talked about So Tell Me Why, but I cannot say enough about the hook of So Tell Me Why. That's the thing. It gets stuck in your head, and that's why
sure.
it ranks as high as it does. Is just, again, Poison writes a hook. Poison straight up. I mean, again, you play me a new song, and yet it's already familiar. They are master craftsmen at this.
But your river of emotion for me feels like a dried up stream.
Yeah.
Come on. I want to
great
do to
lyric.
you, girl, things that ain't never been done.
I
Never
wrote
been
that
done.
down. I wrote that down. I literally wrote that down and almost went there earlier. That's one of my favorite lyrics in the song. Like I always thought that was a cool lyric.
It
I
is.
always thought that was such a cool lyric.
To me, it's that river of emotion. Like, I feel like you write that lyric and you go, how the hell am I fitting that into a song? It's so many syllables, so wordy. And they did it so amazingly melodically. It just, that as a pre-chorus on its own, just sounds freaking good. And then the, ooh, you gotta tell me why. Yep, I'm in. Just killer song.
But I gotta be honest. The one I was talking about was the second one. I want to do to you, girl, things that.
Yeah. Oh, no, I knew that. I knew that. No,
Okay.
I knew that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I was just finishing my initial thought. No. I love it because, again, it's Bret at his seduction best. It's, you know, he's doing his thing. It's good. Caton, you're number 10.
All right. Tearing Down the Walls was my number 10.
Okay. So we're on 9.
Tearing Down the
Carsen
Walls
did hers.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So the wardrobe change for me is we're moving into the look what the cat dragged in era here, for me at least. So number 9, sorry. I Won't Forget You. For me, it's look, I love Poison's ballads. I love the simplicity of this song. That sums it up for me. I love the simplicity of this song. It feels like it's the structure of it is a fairly simple type composition. The solo is fairly simple, I would say, but I love the solo in this song. The lyrics, it's better to have lost at love than never to have loved at all. Sometimes in my head, I can still see pictures of you. I love that one. And then, you know, the whole, I should let you fade away, but that just wouldn't be me. Oh, baby. I mean, how good is that? And, you know, so I Won't Forget You. I love the video. I can remember that as a kid. Yes. And this is the video where they push each other in the swimming pool, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where Cece's sitting in the hotel room playing that. I think it's a pink guitar or whatever. So yeah, it had to make my list.
This one did not make my list, and I'll tell you why. In my brain, I put this with Life Goes On. It's almost like I Won't Forget You had to walk so that Life Goes On could run. And this is just I associate them for some reason.
Yep.
And I feel like I Won't Forget You is an incomplete thought that Life Goes On is like, now I'm good enough to write this. I know what I was trying to say there, but now I can actually have the life experience to really say what I was trying to say there.
So I another thing I wrote down that I almost said touches on what you just mentioned. When I said I love the simplicity of this, I thought about mentioning, I feel like this was Poison figuring out how to do a incredible ballad. Like, I feel like I Won't Forget You was kind of like their rough draft of what the later Poison ballads would become.
Yep.
But I love it because of that. Because I feel like it's raw and it's early. Like when I hear I Won't Forget You, it's like I don't think of it. The first thing I think of is not like, oh, this is Poison, I love this song. The first thing I think of is like, that's right, look what the Cat Dragged In era, like early Poison.
Yes.
It just sounds so, early, and just raw, and like they're figuring it out, which they were figuring it out. That's part of the reason why I love this album. So
no, you make a good point, Hyde, about saying that like it is the incomplete thought that becomes Life Goes On, because there's such an immaturity, and I don't mean that in a negative way, to I Won't Forget You. That I Won't Forget You is the song that I would sing when I broke up with my 8th grade boyfriend. And I would feel that, like, if I listened and, like Life Goes On, that's way too deep for me to have, like busted up with a guy at the lockers. I like Life Goes On that's going to be way above my head. But I Won't Forget You it's so relatable to a younger, I think it touches you when you're younger, because it is immature. But also, like who knows when this was written? This could have been rolling around, and let's say it was Bret, because we always think Bret writes, but it could have been rolling around somebody's head when they were 16, right? They're like, I won't forget you, even though I should. Like, even that is, there's a little, the arrogance of it. They're like, I mean, I should, but I'm a good guy. And there's arrogance in, let's say, those superficial breakups. And there's an immaturity of superficiality to this song, but again, we always go back to CeCe and the music, but like it's a highlight. It is. The problem is, much like we talked about with Motley's first album, and the last one we did, it's really hard. Like, it could easily, like, oh, rank your Poison songs. Well, okay, basically everything off Look What the Cat Dragged In. That's, like, I could probably get rid of a few, but it wouldn't also be hard for me to put most of them on there. It's a solid album, especially for being a debut.
Yeah. For Bret's notes on the Poison Greatest Hits album, this was the love letter to everyone left back in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. This was all like to everybody because Bobby, Rikki, and he had to go, and this was for them. And, which again,
oh, that's cool.
It sounds like it though, but this goes to the thought of it being almost the prototype song of this was the raw thought. We won't forget you. That's it. That's what you say to somebody when you're leaving them, and there's no cell phones and there's no text messages and emails. It's, I won't forget you. Hopefully I'll see you, but I won't forget you. It's not totally about the love and loss as much as it is those people that you leave behind that you do love in different ways, but I won't forget you. So really, when you really look at it like that, I can picture, and I'm not saying this is the story, but you can picture them like one of them driving, 3 others of them in the back, or 2 others of them in the back, and Bret just sitting there writing it, like writing it out because he's feeling those emotions as he's going.
Because he signed somebody's yearbook that.
Yes.
I
won't forget you. Good luck. BM.
I feel like, Nell, that you mentioned that somewhere in the back of my head, I've heard that before.
Yeah, I think so too.
But it makes sense, because if you think about some of the lyrics, it doesn't necessarily seem like it's, a boy girl type deal, because it, when I laugh to myself when I think of all the crazy things that we used to do, that seems like more friendship and family, and
the miles come between us, just between you and me.
Exactly. And the other thing is, you think about, like, back in the day, there was no cell phones, and there was no FaceTime, and sometimes in my head I can still see pictures of you, like when you're moving to Hollywood from Pennsylvania, like, that's the only way you are seeing somebody, was how you remember them, or looking at, a Polaroid picture. I mean, you couldn't pull out your phone. You couldn't. So, it makes sense that was kind of a farewell, and, to the people in Pennsylvania. So I'm glad you reminded me of that. I think I've heard that before.
I'm sure. Look, I read the Poison Greatest Hits back to cover because it's every song has an explanation. So I read that thing front to back many a time. I was really popular. My number 9, because Carson, we did yours. Yes. My number 9 is the lone representation I have of an album that I thought was actually going to dominate this list, and that is Native Tongue. And the song is Until You Suffer Some Fire and Ice. And like when in my brain, I'm a Native Tongue guy. Because again, I love those mid-90s albums. I love when we switch out and we're not trying as hard for the MTV hit anymore. So we get to do something creative and express ourselves. And there's the 45, in case you wanted to see it. The picture disc 45 of Until You Suffer Some. Yeah, real easy to see. I love this song. I think it is so well written, and yet it's so weird that it's got the fire and ice thing, which we'd already gotten on Flesh and Blood, Fire and Ice. This could be the last time we stand, which is a song on Native Tongue. It's almost like we didn't know what to title this thing because the titles that are natural have already been used. So to take it from the line that I can't stand to see no more damage done, and you'll never understand until you suffer some. Oh, I love that. Love that delivery. Great, great line. I love Rikki Kotzen bringing in his backing vocals throughout that album. He shines on Until You Suffer Some. He's so good and brings in something that, like you said, we love Cece's voice. Kotzen to me, and this is probably rude for a lot of people, is a fantastic backup vocalist. Like there are guys who are just great at being the second voice, and he is one of them. I think he's so good in this role with Poison. I think what he brought to Poison was great. And again, it doesn't have Gotta Face the Hangman on it. So as you listen to that album, it's Poison and it sounds like it. Yeah. Again, stellar album. I've got actually one of the tour shows on right now from the Hammersmith Odeon. Just great era of the band that obviously just the times weren't favorable to. And I was shocked when, as it's such a testament to Poison's music and their songs, that again, I feel like I could have put so many things on this album or from this album on here. And it just didn't. They fell off, and it's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to me too that, I mean, I didn't have anything that actually made it because I told you my number 15 changed. And it doesn't make any sense other than because I love Native Tongue, other than the fact that I couldn't bump other Poison tunes, right?
Exactly.
But listen, this song is it's one of my favorite Poison ballads. And I mean, I love the lyrics. I do. I love, especially, this could be the last time that I get through to you. This could be the last time that we say goodbye.
Yep.
Like, man, those sting, So listen, Kotzen on this album and his background vocals, he did for Poison and this album. He was just as important as I equate it to Richie Sambora and Bon Jovi.
Yes.
You think about, I'll be there for you. I'll be there for you. Is that the right song?
Yes.
Yeah. I was trying to think, is that the title? But you think about, Sambora's background vocals and everything is, prominent and very powerful. But in that song, especially his vocals, his background vocals are so important. But yeah, I mean, you can just, what I love about Native Tongue and Kotzen's background vocals is sometimes you'll get a background vocal and you're like, oh, I feel like somebody else is on there. Or I think somebody else is layered in there. There's no mistaking. You can tell, ooh, that's Rikki Kotzen background there. And it's those extra layers, man, it really added something to Poison that, it's a shame that we didn't get. We're all glad CC, was back in the fold probably, but it's a shame we didn't get more than just that album, because they were really good together.
They were.
I mean, they.
Now, I should say, it was awesome. It was this tour that I'm wearing the shirt of, that 2003 tour, where the band actually did play Stand with Cece on that tour. So that was cool. It was one tour only where that happened. So it was really nice that they did that. Before I ask Carsen her thoughts to add to this, I will say, as much as this is the only native tongue representation on my list, it is not the only song with Rikki Kotzen on my list.
Okay.
Carsen, your thoughts on Until You Suffer Some?
Well, no, it was kind of the same thing that just to echo you guys talking about throughout the entire album. That's what really sticks out to me, is the difference in sound because of the depth of Richie's voice. That when you go back and listen to specifically, like, Look What the Cat Dragged In and Open and Say Ah, but I really hear it on Cat Dragged In, that you get the vocals, the backup vocals. I'm not saying they do it, but it's like, hey, we've got two guys standing around the microphone and it's a little bit high, and they're just extra voices. And I'm not saying there's not care and production to it, but Rikki, there is a depth that is not there, that you don't get from the first three albums. And I think like it's a solid choice because, like you said, when you get like Fire and Ice and you're like, oh, we're already like name checking lyrics, we can't use that anymore. But I always like a reference. I like, whether it's meant to be a callback or not, I always like a connection between songs. And that one, even with like Suffer Some, you're like, all right. So are we not talking about native tongue anymore? Is that it?
For me, I'm not.
Yeah.
And I guess
And
not.
I think Caton said he didn't have any. Can we just talk about the intro though? I'm just going to sidebar real quick. Just the freaking instrumental opening it up. Like, the thing is, for me, I equate it to like a Motley, like Terror in Tinseltown. The only problem is like, it just like it didn't bleed into the scream the way I wanted it to.
No.
But I just like straight up as a, like, just as a random, like, here's like a minute and a half of music. I was like, well, this is pretty great. Oh, why didn't you make it a part of something else? So that's my frustration with that.
Nailed it.
Yeah, even listening back over the last couple of weeks, that grabbed me. It's almost like I forgot that it didn't bleed into that first track, and then it was
feels
like,
like an interlude.
That's kind of random the way it just stopped and then go. Yeah, it was a missed opportunity to not segue into.
Yeah, to make it something, because it sounds silly because I get it. It's a minute and a half, but I'm like, that's really good. Oh, it went nowhere. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't Sheila E. doing some of the drum stuff on that?
I'm
pretty sure that Sheila E. was on native tongue and doing some drum stuff. Yeah,
I'm gonna bet if Caton said that, then that happened, because
I have no reason to doubt you.
No, I absolutely think you're right.
I feel like it's floating around in there from a few decades ago when I heard that. But so somebody can fact check me and leave it in the comments or something if I'm off there.
Carsen, you're number 8 because we haven't heard from you in a while.
Oh, okay. In my notes here, we're going. Caton was saying how Open Up and Say Ah, that there were so many like deep cuts, things that weren't singles, and for me, Look But You Can't Touch. That is just like that. The rolling of the R to kick it off. And I know you're boys and you're heterosexual, fine. But it's very, very sexy to a young girl coming of age. And it's also, and I kind of referenced it with Ain't That the Truth, but it's so funny to me that it's on the same album where they did a cover of Your Mama Don't Dance, because it's Poison's version. Because it's dirtier, right? This is Poison. It's just interesting if you put the juxtaposition of those two songs, because there's such a similarity to them in the tone and the idea of the story with the lyrics. And then, like, I don't know, there's something that's going to stick out about like good girls go to heaven and bad girls go to hell. It's when you're listening to that at the age we're listening to this music, that I'm like, but I want to hang with Poison, so I want to be a bad girl, but like, I don't want to go to hell. It's just, that's the thing, when you take it for the time, when I'm listening to it, it's very much like it's stuck in my head because of that, just the ideology of it.
I love the song. It's so much fun. This goes into, I do think I think when it comes to depth of field, I do think that Look What the Cat, or not Look What the Cat Dragged, Open Up and Say Ah is the most complete album as a concept that feels like any song, as we said earlier, could have been a single, and this is one of them. Like Flesh and Blood, I think is a better album from a well-rounded band standpoint, but I feel like, again, they were swinging for the fences, and it's like anything on Open Up and Say Ah feels like it's on Open Up and Say Ah, and that's a compliment.
It feels like they all could have been hits.
Yes,
they all absolutely could have been. And I want to go like to the end, like when you get into production and percussive, it's like the crank widget thing.
Yes,
like it sticks out to you, and it's just one of those little things that it shouldn't add anything, but it does, and it makes it memorable. And it's those kind of just fun little nuances. Again, whoever was responsible for saying, you know what this song needs, guys. And it's another great representation of Poison writing just to their strengths, which is just like sex and but also like the party music that was of its time.
Yeah, it was witty. It was witty lyrics too, if you think about it. I mean, just the song title itself, it's kind of witty. It's kind of tongue in cheek, kind of funny, but I mean, jumped up on the bed, tore off all her. I mean, it was just. I thought it was kind of
one beer got her naked. He had it was a can. It was a can of beer. It was one beer. Like, where was this beer from? What was the ABV on this?
It was a Foster's. It was a Billy beer.
A tall boy. What are we doing here? But you're right. It's like it is witty, and it's the fact that it's funny Bret playing off his own arrogance just because he's the singer. We're picturing Bret there. I think,
to be fair though, on that beer though, I think she drank it down really fast.
Oh, okay.
I think she drank it down really fast.
That's fair.
Till she nearly choked before she jumped up on the bed.
Then just let it go. But it is. But there's also, which is what I love about I think we all love about Poison, is the humor in it. And there is something that is very fun about it, because who's saying no to Bret Michaels? Straight up, like, she's already at the hotel and she's like, nah, look, but really? Somebody said no. Oh, okay. But it's even like he's taking down, like he's already taken. You can't make fun of Bret. He's already done it for you.
Yeah.
He's already shown you I struck out. Okay.
It's the She's So Cold of the Poison.
Yeah.
Caton, you're number 8.
All right. Sticking with Look What the Cat Dragged In. My number 8 is Cry Tough.
Oh.
Cry Tough. And so listen, couple things on Cry Tough. It has my favorite Poison lyric of all time. And some of this is probably maybe because of nostalgia. I don't know, because I can remember as a kid, this was my favorite Poison lyric. And so it stuck with me. And that's, life ain't no easy ride. At least that's what I'm told. Sometimes the rainbow, baby, is better than the pot of gold. And I can remember, it's like it was yesterday. I can remember, obviously I didn't do this, but I can remember when I started, like when email was a thing, I remember I was like, man, I'm going to put that quote like on as my tagline,
my signature
under my email signature, life ain't no easy ride. Sometimes the rainbow is better than the pot of gold. I thought that was genius when I was a, 12-year-old kid. But listen, I think Cry Tough, I think it's an interesting choice for their leadoff single.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really kind of an odd choice to like, that is what was chosen to introduce Poison to the world. I love the song, clearly. I think it's a weird first choice for your leadoff single. And that really stuck with me the last couple of weeks when I was prepping for this and I was kind of doing my homework and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, that was the first single. And I was like, that's kind of a head scratcher to me.
And it's the revisionist, because anybody will now tell you it was Talk Dirty to Me, but it was not.
It wasn't.
Cry Tough is the first single.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Like, as an archer within your quiver, you've got I Won't Forget You, you've got Talk Dirty to Me, and you throw out this first. It's almost like it's a different era where you're trying to build the band rather than have it fade. So it's like, you've got Talk Dirty to Me right here, but you're like, you know what? Let's give you this first. Taste this band.
Oh,
And
no
then
doubt
be
that was
ready.
the approach. But
That was
no doubt
that's how
that
they
was
did
the-
everything back then.
I think absolutely they held the best for the second or third single sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's also, you talk about the revisionists, you got to go back and, you look at these stats and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. I mean, Insanity, crazy. And I forget this sometimes. I mean, Look What the Cat Dragged In was not a single.
Was not.
Off of Look What the Cat Dragged In.
Nope.
And I mean, they open every show with that. Come on. So incredible that. So I think of anything in the Poison across their history or their catalog. If there was ever a wrong choice or a missed opportunity, it's that Look What the Cat Dragged In wasn't a single. But I won't say anything. I won't say anything more about that right now.
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
feeling
We're
we'll
gonna
talk
sit on that song for a
But
hot minute.
Cry Tough, man. Love it. Killer song.
All right. So when we did Motley Crue, I got some looks when I had Livewire at number 14. So I'm going to get some looks on this one. My number 8 is also from Look What the Cat Dragged In, but it is Talk Dirty to Me.
Stop.
See?
We don't need to say any more.
Nope.
Yep. So that's great that you have told us where that sits on your list.
We'll talk
That
more
we
about
will-
the song later.
You already know.
But that's the thing. Like, I know. I'll talk about it when we get to everybody
Okay.
else's spot
Yes.
where that may or may not exist. But I'm guessing it does. And I'm guessing it's going to be a while till I can express why I put it at number 8.
I feel like out of anybody in my life, dear Hyde, brother of mine, I have known for my entire life, except for the 1,287 days before you were born. So otherwise, I feel like you probably had an inkling that Talk Dirty to Me would be on my list. I'm just saying.
I'll move on.
You were silenced pretty quick on that one, man.
I was. But we'll talk about it later.
We'll come back.
So I'll go to my number 7. Earlier, that the song in its other form was not on my list. And that is Something to Believe In, alternate lyric version. This was a B-side, made much easierly available to people with the Best of Ballad and Blues compilation that came out somewhere around 2003 or 4. It was on a bonus disc. But this is where, kind of in that Guns N' Roses Don't Cry territory, give me these lyrics with the production of Flesh and Blood, and I'd be ecstatic. Because Something to Believe In alternate version has better lyrics to me. Just the way they hit rhythmically and melodically within the song. The line of, whatever he found, why he broke down. I love the way that flows. When I want to bitch about growing old, I think how many never had the chance. Bam. Just this thing is introspective as much as Something to Believe In was. It's almost like this was written at the same time and he just had more and just had to slice it in half or something, which I don't know if that's the actual story, but I love this song. This one to me, when I hear Something to Believe In, if I'm at the show under my breath, I'm singing these lyrics. To kick off a song with I came home from school on Tuesday to find my mother gone. Okay. This is Poison, right? Like, it hits a little harder when it talks all about who the real criminal is. It's not the kid on the streets without a dream shooting up the dealer's smack. It's the red tape politicians. Like, whoa, Bret Michaels, you're coming at me with some hard stuff here, and it works. I mean, I'm pretty much reading the whole song at this point in time, but I love every lyric, and I love the way the lyrics fit within the song. Like I said, melodically, rhythmically, I love the feel of this song. so much more. So when I told you that Something to Believe In from Flesh and Blood was not on my list, I meant it.
Yeah, I've got to go back. I knew there was an alternate lyric version. Wow, I did not listen to that as we were prepping for this, and it's been many, many moons since I have. So I need to go back and check that out because I don't remember what the lyrics were, to be honest with you. So
this is my American zero of this particular list here. I don't think Carsen has anything to add about Something to Believe In alternate version.
I really don't. I will be honest with you. I'm sure I've heard it many moons ago, but yeah, that one I can't say that I have heard in a very long time. And even when I went through and was like compiling my list, I'm like, how did that like not even end up on my sheets?
Because it was a B-side and then it ended up on a compilation, but not always at the forefront of everybody's mind. Carsen, what is your number 7?
My number 7, Flesh and Blood, is getting so much representation here. The older I get, the more this hits. Life Loves a Tragedy.
Oh yeah.
That is like the beginning is leading to this whole big epic thing, but then it just kicks into rock. But talk about like the thrills are long gone. I mean, they're not, but also, and it's like funny when you think like this is all Flesh and Blood. Like they've been around for 5 years. I mean, in like the general populace, I'm not talking LA or whatever, but my vices turned to habits and then the habits turned to stone. And it's like, holy crap. Like I said, the older I get, it's just, it hits more and more and more. And there really is something about personally, like the nights spent in danger with strangers and,
my favorite lyric.
Thought they were friends. It's, because that's the thing. We've all been there, and the older you get and when you do start the reflection and you look back and even some of those nights that you think were fun, and the more you remove yourself and you're like, yeah, I mean, it was, but also, and it's not to be like the danger could be hyperbolic at this point, but it's, you did some stuff with people that I never spoke to again. And it's not like, it's nothing nefarious. It's just, again, it makes you really sit back and start with the chronology of your life. And you start the inventory of looking back at what are my habits, what have turned into vices, or again, the nights that I spent, whether it was a bar or a concert. And while I'm sure there's a fun anecdote, it's also, I did some stupid stuff, and life loves a tragedy.
Absolutely. Again, Flesh and Blood. This is that maturity we're talking about. And this is, like you said, as putting the date to it that I read for I Won't Forget You, 6 years since they left Pennsylvania. And they're already in that, like, okay, like they've already lived that papering the streets of LA. They've already done all that stuff. It's now like we're already feeling that reflective. And it's so weird. Something I don't know if it's something about like the decade becoming the 90s, if that, because everybody was beginning to go that direction before anything changed. Like Poison is still riding high. This isn't like something off Native Tongue where, oh, the good days have gone bad already. This is, we're still at the top of the world, and we have no reason to think this is going to end anytime soon. But everyone is already somehow, and you hear it in other bands around 1991, getting reflective. And it's just very interesting to hear they were on board with that. There was a shift coming that may have been the shift that they perpetuated in their own way.
I am going to hold further comments on this song.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I went a little far then, but okay.
No, you didn't. No, it's a stellar song.
All right.
Yep. I'm gonna hold though. It's up there. It's up there high enough that I'm gonna hold. We'll talk about it a little bit more.
Your number 7, Caton.
My number 7. Okay, here we go. Easily, one of my favorite tracks from Open Up and Say Ah. I maybe would have even told you a couple weeks ago it was my favorite track from Open Up and Say Ah. I think it's one of the best album openers of the entire genre, and that's Love on the Rocks. I freaking love this song.
Yes.
I have always loved Love on the Rocks. One of my favorite things about Love on the Rocks is the way it perfectly blends into Nothing But a Good Time. So at the end, if you remember, and this is just ingrained in me from being a kid and just listening to this 100 times a day, but at the end you have that funny sound, and it just goes straight into right into Nothing But a Good Time. And it's perfect the way those two songs, you talk about track sequencing, Hyde, earlier.
Mm-hmm.
This was sequenced perfectly, I thought. But I think this could have been absolutely beyond dangerous as a single. I think it would have done incredible, Love on the Rocks. Always been a track favorite of mine. And yeah, I thought it would actually be a lot higher than, what are we on, number 7?
6.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, 7. Yes.
I thought it would have been a lot higher.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you do these things and stuff has to fall. But yeah, interested to hear your thoughts on that one.
I love that they worked Poison into a song. There's something like you listen to that and you're like, because you're Poison, and you work Poison into a song. And then when you look at Down the Road with Swallow This, and you're like, oh, so obviously there's an affinity for this song from the band, right? Like they knew what they were doing with these lyrics, and I think they knew what they had. And like you said, it's so much on Open Up and Say like you could have just released this entire album and been like, yeah, every month we're just going to throw you a single. We're just going to do top to bottom. And they all would have been hits. And this is proof positive of that. I absolutely agree with you.
I loved it as the album opener for some reason. I just think it fits so well as the album opener. And then I always loved the way it goes into Nothing But a Good Time. And like, if that's not top of mind for you, check that out tonight when we get done with this. It's so cool the way it bleeds into it. I think
Love on the Rocks was a bubbling under. So it was up there high for me. I believe Swallow This was supposed to be the original title of Open Up and Say
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
That's what. So it's they got to do it with Swallow This live, but they didn't have the clout yet. But I believe it was supposed to be Swallow This, and the record company was like, nah. And it does obviously come from this song. So that is why they eventually got to use it. But again, and I love the way that's sung. I like the way the music kind of drops out behind it. Love on the Rocks, great hook, just phenomenal. And I'm going to go ahead and perfectly segue into Nothing But a Good Time, which is my number 6.
Woo!
But I'm going to hold off because I figured it'd be higher on other people's.
I am with Carsen on that.
We'll get there in time.
Wow.
We will.
But I figured since it perfectly segued, I would also perfectly segue to move on to my 6. But yeah, I'll talk about it later. Caton, you're up again. Let's go with you again with number 6.
Just real quick. So you're absolutely right. It was to be called originally Swallow This. I got to tell you, I am so glad that did not happen, because I think the album title Open Up and Say
so good.
It may, I mean, I've said this a lot tonight about different aspects of Poison. I think the album title, Open Up and Say and Look What the Cat Dragged In, are two of the best of the entire genre. I mean, I stand by that all day. I Open Up and Say I have always loved that. Look What the Cat Dragged In. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, that's the best album title. I mean, so
they're up there with Slippery When Wet. That's that like those are just iconic phrases.
Yes.
And to have the recognition with these bands that, you're right. Like they're so good. They're so solid.
All right. You said 6.
Number
it's
6.
It's back to me. Okay. So we've talked about this. So Ride the Wind. Yep. I don't remember where you had it. It was lower.
Ride the Wind was number 12 for me.
Yeah.
It was 10 for me. Yeah.
So written, I have Ride the Wind, ... I'm just glad it made it back in the set.
Everyone keeps wanting us to put this back in the set.
Love it.
Yeah,
Flesh and blood.
you know,
This is
the
about freedom
intro
of the
to
soul.
Ride the
Get
Wind
ready to
is
go.
so
This is called
epic.
Ride the
It's
Wind.
simple,
Come on.
but the intro is just so cool. I mean,
Hearts of
you
Fire,
hear it,
Streets of Stone.
and I mean, and they could just keep that going forever
Oh, yeah.
if they wanted to. You know, you could just keep just to tease the crowd. I mean, yeah. What else did I? Yeah, I love right after the solo. I don't remember if I said this earlier, but I love the way it slows down and it goes into, you know, of all the truths and lies and stories of right. I thought that was, you know, I thought that was beautiful. But yeah, Ride the Wind, love it. Poison staple. I mean, come on.
Again, they seem to like just thinking piggybacking on that right now, like that Eagles and Angels dared, you know, like they do so well. What I talked about earlier was something to believe in, matching a syllable to like a rhythmic part of a song. Because it's that Eagles and Angel. It's like, yes, okay, I'm back. Now we're back. I'm back to the chorus. You got me. We went down, we're down, but now we're coming out of it. They really do. It is it's a mastercraft of songwriting. And kind of what we were speaking of earlier, where people talk about the technicians of all that. There's a lot of bands out there who are technically amazing players who can't write a good song. And if you're going to be a band and be a musician, you got to learn how to write good songs. And it doesn't matter to me how many times you can play whatever. If you can't write a good song, you're not worth it. And Poison writes a good song.
Mm-hmm. And you said it earlier. I mean, you know, you said, I don't know if it's exactly like how I would put it, or if like I'm 100% there, but like I know what you mean. Like when you say, look, like Poison, you know, they're a pop band. I mean, that's not exactly how I would say it, but I totally get what you're saying. I mean, they are a party rock band. They are a party band. They are, and you know, what's interesting about Poison is, you know, if you look at like, look what the cat dragged in, and Carsen, you always, you know, joke with me about this when I talk about sleaze rock and subgenres and stuff. You know, sleaze rock is one of my all-time favorites, right? You know, I think about Faster Pussycat's debut album, LA Guns debut, and Cocked and Loaded. I mean, sleaze rock, you know, look what the cat dragged in was sleaze rock, right? Open Up and Say Ah was not sleaze rock. It was party rock.
Yep.
Flesh and Blood was certainly not sleaze rock, but look what the cat dragged in. Holy smoke. I mean, that was right. Talk Dirty to Me. Look what the cat dragged in. I Want Action.
I mean, rhyming whiskey and frisky. Like,
right,
I mean,
right.
risky and whiskey is just like straight up.
So
you know.
I definitely agree with what you're saying. You know, that you call it pop, I call it party rock. That is what encompasses and describes what Poison is in my mind. It's just interesting because that first album, I don't think about Look What the Cat Dragged In as a party rock pop band. I think about that as, man, this is sleaze rock at its best. And so it's interesting because they shifted even between Look What the Cat Dragged In and Open Up and Say Ah.
Oh, yeah. What I think is interesting about Poison in that realm of what we're talking about, Motley Crue was dangerous, as we talked about last week. Motley Crue show up at your house, you're not letting them in. Like, you know, if your mom is home and she answers the door, Motley Crue's not coming in. Poison might make it past the door. And yet Poison can do a lot of different damage. And that's the subversive nature, I want to say, of Poison. And it's like, look, when they show up in that Look What the Cat Dragged In look, yeah, different. But by the time you start hitting Open Up and Say Ah, like, again, they look like good boys, like, is the best way to put it. So when I say pop, I don't mean they sound like Tiffany, or what I'm saying is they're
I know exactly what
songs.
you mean.
They're catchy exactly songs. They are compact. And, you know, I've often said to write a song that back in the day, to write one song that inspired, let's say, 10 million people to go out and spend their money on an album because you wrote one song is amazing. That's something that is hard to do. And how many songs are written every day and released every day. And it's always a pop song that does that, you know, whether it could be Celine Dion or something like that. But the point being that these songs, they stick in your head and they mean something to you. And I think Poison is able to sneak in that front door because they are just a little bit lighter, like a little bit on the pop rock. Like you say, you're not scared of them. They're not Guns N' Roses, but it's because of that they get in and they're still going to do some damage.
Well, because Bret is going to charm your mom and Cece is going to make your dad laugh. So they're in, and then the next day they're cursing those Poison boys.
Yes.
That showed up here and did whatever it is that they do.
Yeah.
I did want to say one more thing about Ride the Wind, because just the I had mentioned this earlier, and it's regarding just even 2 songs on the same album. Something to Believe In, like I said, is not like lyrically poetry. It's lyrically a journal entry because it's just so straightforward. Ride the Wind, when Hyde said like with the rhythmic, like we're eagles and angels, like there's a poetic lyricism to that. And I think that's part of the reason that it's so evocative. That, it's not even just that you see it, you feel the wind in your hair. You feel the sun down on you. You feel the chill of the night through your leather coat while you're on the bike.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's you talk about the live set, and Poison being a live band, and it is Ride the Wind is one of the highlights of the live set.
Yes.
Period.
No doubt.
I mean, it's one of the highlights. And I don't know if it's, is it the song? Is it the lyrics? Maybe it's both, but it's so much in Poison's catalog. You're right. Like when you think about it, the songs, I don't always go back and think about the song like, the album version. I think about the live version that's buried in my head from seeing them 100 times. So it's kind of cool. Where are we, man?
Carsen, you're 6th.
Oh, my number 6. Well, we were talking about sleaze rock. Want Some, Need Some.
Oh, wow. Okay. I love it.
Okay. I
did not expect that to be up there. That's great.
Well, because I'm going to be honest with you. Lyrically, it's not the strongest, right? What is great is the guitar solo with the drum hits. Like, it stands out so well. But I also, in going back and compiling this, I went back and actually, Hyde will tell you, I am terrible at lyrics. There are songs to this day that I'm still like, I'm singing it, and people are like, that's wrong. I've been singing that song 35 years. I don't know. I love the music of the song. I want lyrics because I want to be able to sing along and be a participant, but I'm not always great at lyrics. So all that to say, I go back and I'm pulling up Poison lyrics, and I was like, holy crap. Want Some, Need Some is the absolute mirror, like in the, bizarre world to Cry Tough. Cry Tough is, we're going to go out, we're going to do this, we're going to work hard. Want Some, Need Some is like, I don't really care who I get. I just need someone. I'm not putting any effort into it. And I'm like, for these guys that are like, we're going to beat down every door, we're going to make our dreams. They're like, when it comes to love, we don't really care. Anybody for a night. And I love that those two are just like right there on that same album, because it's like we just flipped the sentiment.
I think that's what this genre was great at. That again, there's no way you're listening to these bands and going, oh, they're going to take you seriously. And then 5 minutes later, it's, oh, but that's because they're heartbroken. It really, like, this is why the women showed up for these bands, because it worked. It's every bad boy has a soft side. It played.
I won't forget you.
It played into the I can change him mentality, and perfect. And that's what these guys took advantage of.
Yeah. But I mean, the guitars on this song, really, that's where I get into lyrically. I don't care. It's the music for this, the guitars on this, specifically the solo with the drums. I think it's just, I think it's so good.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's one I didn't expect to be so high on anybody's list, not because it's not an insanely good song. But that one kind of caught me off guard. Like I just thought there would maybe be some others that would be up there. But yeah, I love it. There's nothing off that debut album I don't like. I mean,
again, it goes into what you guys said about Too Fast for Love. It's in the bottom half of an album that doesn't have a bottom half.
Exactly. I mean, my number one is, Mama, Please Let Me Go to the Show. So just wait for it,
All right.
I still have the visual of that song and the sneaking out, and I can hear her from 10 miles away. Like, even then, I can pontificate on that song.
I mean, dude, I didn't put number one Bad Boy on my list, but I should have.
There was room. There was room.
What you've heard about me, well, it's probably right. I mean, dude, come on.
Yep. Great way to start. All right. Are we at number 5 now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Caton, you're number 5.
My number 5 is Fallen Angel. My number 5 is Fallen Angel. I'm not sure if there's another Poison song that takes me back to childhood as quickly as Fallen Angel does. I have every frame of the video locked into my head. I mean, I can just remember, just praying that video would come on, and then it would end. It's like, oh man, I can't wait until I can see this again. I mean, you remember back when you used to wait for videos to come on if you weren't, recording them on VHS. But I love Fallen Angel. I love the story. I mean, that's Bret telling a story, right? There is a story ingrained in the DNA of that. And I love it. Musically, I love it. Lyrically, I love it. Fallen Angel, probably no surprise that I had Fallen Angel and Ride the Wind. I've always kind of thought of those like they're different, but I've always kind of thought of those like in the same. It's interesting. Like when I'd hear them live, they'd play that and it would always make me think, it's like you just played Fallen Angel. Like, I'm ready for Ride the Wind. Like, I don't know why I always kind of had those in the same bucket in my head, but I gotta believe that Fallen Angel's up there for you guys too. Hopefully, maybe not.
Carsen?
I will have thoughts on Fallen Angel later.
Got it.
I will express mine now because it's not on my list. And this was a hard one. This one is just the overplayed, unfortunately, is why it fell off.
I still love it. I still love it.
It next to Every Rose is tied for my favorite CC guitar solo. It is again so good. I love Rikki's drumming is to me for front of this song. I love Bret's red outfit from the video.
Oh, heck yeah.
I owned Susie Hatton's album at one point in time. Like again, this is without going, I don't want to go into Nothing But a Good Time yet. This is the second Poison song to come out in my fandom. And thus the first one had probably already been out for a minute. So I remember seeing it a lot, but this is the one I remember seeing all the time in a great way. I loved it. Nothing wrong with it. Love the call and response vocal, win big. Like you're putting your fist up. That is a tailor-made song for a crowd to sing along. And like I say, it just unfortunately has just fallen off. Honestly, I think it got detracted by Shooting Star. I think Shooting Star has done a disservice to Fallen Angel in my head that because you released the same song twice in an inferior format. In essence, it almost hurts the original song where I don't think of it as much. Because this was a hard one to leave off. But because it's stellar. Like I've got no notes. It just isn't going to be in my 15 playlist of Poison in 2025. It would be in my 20 playlist.
Here's how I kind of feel about Fallen Angel. Yes, overplay. I can totally see how you're saying it can fall victim to that. Although it doesn't to me. Like that I still can't skip. Like if that comes on, it's like I'm listening to it. But Fallen Angel, I feel the same way as I do Every Rose Has Its Thorn. Meaning it's not my number one, but it's pretty high up there. And like, if one of my kids or a friend that was like, oh, I don't know anything about glam rock, or, that maybe would be one of the rocker tracks that I would play someone if I was trying to introduce them to the genre. I think it's that. Yeah, I think it's that, just trademark staple of a tune.
I actually have more things to say, and I'm going, you know what? Carson's going to bring it up again later, so we'll get there.
Yeah.
Hold off.
I'll go to
Okay.
my number 5. Wait a minute. The Chick's Got Me Addicted. I hate her so, even though I wish she was my girl. I hate every bone in her body but mine. Again, I love this song. Obviously, if I'm putting it at number 5, I believe in it. This one, I remember specifically, this comes out on Power to the People, which is the shirt I'm wearing, a bootleg of this tour.
Wow, I didn't even recognize that. I didn't even recognize that was a Poison shirt. When
it's a bootleg. It's a parking lot bootleg. But
Killer.
It's got like Slaughter, Poison, Dokken, and Cinderella on it. This tour was such a cool one because it was Dokken Erase the Slate, which I love. Slaughter sounded great on this tour. Cinderella, this was their first tour in a number of years. This was an amazing Poison tour, but I loved it because we did get these new songs from both Dokken and Poison. This album comes out, 5 tracks on it. I remember specifically our station here, WCCC, which is represented right there on my wall with one of their CDs, played this song on the radio as they were leading up to the concert. So as you were listening to it, back when radio stations could play you the hype music for the show you were going to go to and the show that just let out, they played this, and I hadn't really dug into it yet. And I was like, oh, this is really good. And then, of course, we see CC play it live, as we mentioned earlier. And he says, CC, and you're hooked at that moment. But structurally, great song. Riff, very close, but not a ripoff of Talk Dirty to Me. It's got similarities. So that riff sticks in your head. I wonder if Bret had sung it, if it maybe would get more love somehow. Could this have been a single in 2000? With Bret Michaels singing the song? I gotta think it's probably a Samantha 7 like leftover song or something like that, or something he pulled from the album, because it fits the vibe, as I think Caton you'd agree to. It fits that vibe so well, but it's such a good song. And always got to share our stories backstage with Poison and Tesla. Hanging out in 2019 at the KFC Yum Center, and CC DeVille comes in. He's talking about his little solo spot. He still gets in on the Def Leppard Poison Tesla tour. And
Didn't you eat fried chicken with him?
We ate fried chicken with him.
Thought so.
As it's the KFC Yum Center.
It's the KFC Yum Center, and it was a Pepsi place because KFC. But here are Poison and Tesla, specifically like Brian Wheat, who was like, where's the Diet Coke? God bless. They went and got a case of Diet Coke, and me, a Diet Coke addict, because my vices are now habits. And I got to drink Diet Coke in a Pepsi arena, and it was honestly magical.
And I had real Coke, so I was happy.
Yes. And fried chicken with Poison.
But what I interrupted you. I'm sorry. What was the story you were about to go in? It's just,
when CC was talking about his solo, he said he wished it had been a little longer, that he had a little more time for it. And I said, or you could sing I Hate Every Bone in Your Body But Mine. And CC's like, yes, that's a good song. And he's like, you're right. And then he keeps talking about something else. And like literally maybe a minute and a half later, but that is a good song. You're right. I like that song. And my life was made in that moment. Chicken with CC DeVille. And I got to tell him that I love this song. It's not just kissing his ass in the moment of, oh, you wish you had another minute. You should sing that song. That I know it. No, I love this thing, obviously, as I'm putting it at number 5. I think it is so good. I think that, again, it is the Poison spirit. Love the obvious, I don't know if you even call it a double entendre, but I guess it should be. It is a Poison song in every shape and form, and it's got CeCe's great voice on it. So I'll open the floor. Carsen, you've already talked about it a little bit. Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is, when you brought up, if Bret had sung this, could it have been a single? Could it have been bigger? No. I am going to be emphatic and say CC, with his almost Weird Al delivery, that you needed it to be humorous because the lyrics are humorous. And yet can't wait till I can hate you tonight. It's really brilliantly written song lyrically, but there is the humor and there's the wink and a smile. And while Bret does the wink and a smile real well, this song is so blatant that you need CeCe's delivery to really make it, like, I think, palatable. Because I think if Bret does it, you're kind of like, yeah, we regret it. You have a lot of sex, Bret. Look at you, good for you. But like CeCe, you need his. Again, there's a humor in him, but he's like more like Looney Tunes humor. That he is cartoony, and I believe you need that delivery for this song, which is why it's so good. Is the delivery and the caricature that this song is, but it's, again, it probably should have been higher on my list. I'll go back tomorrow and be like, yeah, why wasn't that my number 6? Like, it's so, and the fact that you got to say that to CeCe, I think that's like all we wanted to do backstage is be like, somebody's got to tell CeCe how much we love this song. And no, I'm not kissing your ass, and I'm not looking for attention.
But I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Was this at a Poison show that y'all were eating fried chicken with him?
Def Leppard, Poison, and Tesla.
But okay, so
Def Leppard's on stage while we're all hanging out.
But they did play that. CeCe did sing this song in the Poison set, just not that tour. Is that what you're saying?
He hasn't done it since like 2003.
Yeah, it's been decades.
It's been gone.
Okay. I didn't realize this was.
Yeah, this whole story is even more ridiculous because here we are and we're so excited. We're backstage and we're with the guys. And here's Dave from Tesla. He's like, I mean, you guys are missing Def Leppard. And we're like, yeah, it's cool. It's cool, Dave. We're going to sit here with CeCe DeVille, though. Like,
yeah.
I just said, I'm like, we did not hear a single note of Def Leppard that night. We were not present. We heard it underneath and as we were leaving. But like, I'm sorry, we had a chance to hang out with CeCe. That's what I mean. Like, I love you, Leopard, but I didn't see you. It's fine. I've heard Rock of Ages. We're good.
And Caton, like, to me, the reason I kind of said what I said about Samantha 7, I feel like this and Framed on the same album doesn't work. That's why I wonder if this was a Samantha 7 kind of like leftover or pull from, because like Framed is that same humor body that, like, it's obviously not the same song, but it's in the same vein that it's like, if you put these two on the same album, does it work, or is it the same idea twice? Which is why I wondered if it was a pull.
Yeah.
I'm just making stuff up.
I agree. I'm definitely, I agree with everything you said, Carson, about, I wouldn't want Bret to sing this. Like, I think this is custom built for CeCe and his voice. And, you're right. Like the lyrics. And I just think, and I tell you what, sidebar, I mean, when I go for a jog tonight, I'm listening to the entire Samantha 7 record. Jeez Louise, you got me jonesing for that now. But yeah, it's a great song. I mean, I didn't even really vet this one out properly when I was doing my listing, to be honest with you. I mean, I felt like I listened to darn near every Poison song, and I know this one so well, and I love it. I didn't give it enough credit, I don't think, when I was doing the list. So I'm glad that it made it on both your list, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always loved when CeCe got the mic at a Poison show. Man, I always loved it. I just
Can I sing a song for you?
Connecticut, can I sing a song? I sing for you. Yeah. Oh my God. Why is he so great? Why is he so great?
And he was so great in our backstage encounter. Like, he was so fun. I joke that, like, I now know some of his political ideologies. Like, that's how it's like things I didn't know. Like, I would know what CeCe DeVille considers, to be a great guitar song in the pop realm, as well as what he thinks on certain countries. Like, this is just amazing. And CeCe was everything you wished he was. He was not wearing a cardboard sign, charging people for photos with him, as he did Once Upon a Day. That became a big joke. But again, to me, that's all such tongue-in-cheek about CeCe. I love every bit of it.
Yeah, I love it. I love that there's such a dichotomy between Bret Michaels and his stage persona and the way he presents to the crowd, and CeCe. And, CeCe's just so cartoonish in the way that, can I sing you a song? Yeah, that's exactly what he would say, and
Yes.
you did you got the accent down. But, it's there's times I wonder if Bret's sitting there, just thinking like, because he's the polar opposite, right? Just the way he kind of presents. But CC was just, you know what I mean when I say kind of cartoonish.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, just, the Tasmanian devil up there,
And that's the thing.
He's David Lee Roth, like just in a different life. Like he's got that
100%.
same, like that whatever. And I hate to say screw loose because it sounds negative, but it's like whatever this is that I think most of us have that like stop us from doing things that they're like, no, both of them, we'll throw it out there and see if it works.
Yeah.
They'll try it. And I feel like there's a similar wavelength between those two.
Last thing I'll say about this. I mean, like even with like the MTV debacle or whatever, when they were supposed to play something and then CC goes in to talk dirty to me or whatever he played instead, the pink hair, and that was the end of Poison. I mean, even then watching that, like I loved it. I was like, that's just Cecil. That's just, I mean, like I loved how just bizarre and just, like I said, Tasmanian devil. I mean, but even that performance, I can remember watching that and I was like, heck yeah, man, CC's going rogue. I knew that wasn't the song they were supposed to be playing, but I thought it was absolutely killer the way he just went into it. And then, I mean, I could have done without the guitar coming unplugged and all that kind of stuff, but it was, I don't know. I love CC. You talk about plucking a member from a band and that band just not even being on the same planet as the same band. That's CC DeVille and Poison. I mean, holy moly. Hey, you want to hear a fun fact? So for everybody listening, I'm a Stryper fanatic. They're one of my favorite bands. So I've heard Michael Sweet and CC talk about this. So CC actually auditioned for Stryper and got the gig. It's when they were called Rock's Regime, pre-Stryper. He got the gig and he declined it because he basically asked him, he said, I don't dig the yellow and black. If we can talk, and this is true, like Michael Sweet, he's like, if we could talk about maybe doing pink and purple, I'd consider it. I mean, that's classic, right? If we could be pink and purple, maybe.
Well, again, it goes to, the legend, of course, is that Slash auditioned for Poison. Poison wouldn't have been Poison with Slash. Like, there's no like, oh man, did you guys miss out? You didn't, because your band wouldn't have worked. And it's what we said earlier about Crack a Smile. It's what we said about Native Tongue, that it's good. It just doesn't quite sound like Poison. You pluck CC out, it doesn't work. It's what I said last week, that the album without Tommy Lee sounds less like Motley Crue than the one without Vince Neil. It's the same logic. There is that one person you pluck out of there. It's just not quite the same band. It might be good, but it may not be the same. Your number 5, Carsen.
My number 5, from Swallow This Live. No More Looking Back.
I'm going to X you.
I figured you might. So.
It'll come up later.
Later, yep.
and much later enough that we'll talk about it later.
Yep. That's I had a feeling.
You finally got X'd, Carsen. How'd that feel?
I did.
How'd that feel?
I mean, look, man, it's like Family Feud up in here. It's just how it's going to be. I'm going to get a strike.
You're going to grab a graphic and put it right there of the Family Feud. All right, so then let's go to your number 4 because we've all done our 5.
Correct? Oh, okay. Yeah. I hope you won't have to X this one too. My number 4 is Power to the People.
We'll let it go.
Okay. So Power to the People is just the industrial, the sound, and yet, because you would think the last thing Poison should do is that kind of vibe, but not only does it work, it works so well. Blood on the Stage, Baby You Got It. Like we talked about earlier, like, Bret being a huge Stones guy, and, there's something about like suicide on stage and, it's only rock and roll. And I'm not saying that's an allusion to that, but when I hear those lyrics, I connect to 2 songs, and you can't go wrong by connecting to the Stones for me. But like, when you just, it's like, I Can Make the Sun Go Down. It's like just lyrically, it's so big, but also musically, it's so big. We drop an F-bomb in there, like, fuck all the bitches that broke my heart. Like, whoa, okay, like we're up in this now. We are doing this, Poison. Like, so not only does the sound go that way, lyrically they do too. And it's, yes, we know we love this. Like, it's so good. It was so good live. And I think that's what made me really fall in love with it. And then it's one of those that, and we talk about, like, if you had to put a top 15 playlist and that's all you can listen to, there is no way that Power to the People, A, is not on it. And it's got to be so high for me because that song is just, it's just spectacular. And I know Hyde has a lot to say about Power to the People.
But I'll say it later. What do you think, Caton?
I listened to Power to the People today. Actually, I was sitting outside, and it's funny. I listened to it today. I like this. I like the song a lot. I love, and I feel the same way you do about the song. If I'm talking just about the chorus, I don't love the verses. I don't dislike them, but I don't love them. I love when it goes into the punch in the face of the chorus. I remember, I want to say, wasn't this album when they first came back and toured?
It was the second year.
The second
year. Okay.
Yes.
So I remember the power. If y'all remember on the stage, they had I think it said Power to the People. They had a little banner up. Yeah. I remember live how cool this was, hearing new Poison, live. And I remember how hard it hit. I love the chorus. Absolutely love the chorus. The verses, I don't love. So there you go.
Caton, your number 4.
My number 4 is, and how this is number 4 is it's hard. And I may get axed on this. Talk Dirty to Me. Yeah.
All right, we're running out of numbers here.
I know, but
I think my number 4 isn't going to be on anybody's, so I think I'm
let's
right.
Yep, let's hold it and come back to it. Yep.
Man, I am shocked no one has said this, and yet knowing the X's that are already hanging out there, I X me if I'm wrong. My number 4 is Flesh and Blood, the song.
Okay.
Love it.
Okay,
God.
So
we've almost, like, that album, man.
I know, and
like,
I thought somebody would have offered this one up. I was shocked that, and I get it. It's a little darker, is maybe a way to put it, as dark as that Poison is gonna get. This is one that when it came out, I loved it, and it disappeared quickly. This wasn't as big as the other singles on the album, and it was already that beginning where these guys weren't getting as much rotation as they had previously. You would play the 4th single from a Poison album in 88, 89 ad nauseum. By 90, 91, we're already slowing down on how much we're doing. So Flesh and Blood kind of, I feel like, comes out with a whimper. And I could be wrong, but I feel like it does.
That's a good point. That's factual.
I love the intro, the ba 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 ba. Love that. Going into the song, I think it's just, I like that, the little pre-chorus, the take me down, like Flesh and Blood. So when they released their greatest hits in 96, I hadn't really owned a lot of Poison on CD yet. I'd only had CDs for a little while. And I was like, okay, I looked on the back to make sure Flesh and Blood was on there. That was my tipping point of whether I buy this or the albums before it. Of course, I eventually bought it all, but I'm 15 at the time. I can't afford a lot of albums. So like that was my song. And I think part of it was because I liked it and it disappeared. It wasn't hard necessarily. They weren't on the radio every day, but they were played enough that I could still hear Every Rose or Talk Dirty to Me in my head. But Flesh and Blood just disappeared, and I loved it, and I gravitated to it. Love the bridge, the My Love Grows Deeper Than the River, and all that. Give You But Good, all that stuff. The solo with the big I'm just doing all the song now, but I this song just does it for me, and it is different. This is Poison stretching their wings a little bit, and probably why it wasn't as big a hit as something like A Life Goes On. But this one just does it for me. So that's why it's at my number 4. And I really thought somebody would have mentioned it by now. And I'm going, wow, nobody else likes Flesh and Blood but me.
No, I love it. I love it. Go ahead, Carsen.
Well, I was going to say, it's a testament to this album. How many of these songs have ended up between our lists?
Yeah, and I'm not done.
Yeah, okay, but that's the thing. Like Flesh and Blood, man. You're right, and it's also because the tempo on that song is like it's a mid, right? But it's still a hook.
Yep.
And it's still like, again, that also I think speaks to their songwriting capabilities. That straight up, like you like, I'm hearing it in my head now, and you're already like, your head's going along with it, despite being at a mid-range tempo, like being a little bit slower.
With the O's.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a solid ass choice, man.
Yeah. So that's one where going into when we started, really putting our thinking caps on for this list, that's one that I would have thought would have not been close to my top 15. Not because I don't like it, but I just would not have thought it would have been in my top 15. That is one over the last week when I've really been dialing it in, where I was like, wow, like Flesh and Blood, like it is really, really, really good. And you're right. It is different. It is darker and a little bit more. There's a uniqueness to that tune from the rest of the album. And it was, like Carsen said, some of it was maybe that it was a little bit more of a mid-tempo type deal, but it was just kind of darker. And you're right. That's probably what, I'll be honest, I'm not even sure I remembered that was released as a single.
It's got a video and everything.
I'd have to go polish off my memory on that one, because I don't even. Yeah, so I think it kind of did hit with a whimper, maybe. Killer jersey there.
I've got a very legendary picture of myself in that jersey, so I'll have to put that up here.
Yeah, so
see how cool I was.
Flesh and Blood, I've said my whole life, and I think I stand by this. I've said my whole life, my favorite Poison albums, are Look What the Cat Dragged In, Open Up and Say Ah, and Flesh and Blood, in that order. And over the last couple of weeks, I asked myself numerous times, I was like, is Flesh and Blood my favorite Poison album now? Because holy smokes, look at how much it's represented on here. And that album maybe aged better than the first two albums. Like Poison, like Flesh and Blood, just so much of it still seems relevant. The lyrics, I don't know. It's interesting that it's represented so heavily. I don't know that I anticipated that from the three of us.
I'm not sure I did either.
I think that album aged with us. That I think specifically, the first two albums really capture a moment of feeling, not just in their time and their lives, but also as much as we were young when we heard them. I think those could be soundtracks at certain periods in our lives, whereas Flesh and Blood seems to have more of a range, a much bigger age range with the songs that apply to periods of our lives. I mean, obviously, Unskinny Bop, I'm Still Living.
Aren't we all?
I mean, yeah, I'm always gonna dog that straight up.
Did Unskinny Bop make anybody's list? Let's just ask the question now.
No.
But so let's talk about it for a minute, because
it's a fun song. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
It's nowhere coming close to my top 20, top 15 list.
But it was the right first single.
No,
you have to think,
100% it was. Yes.
Coming off Open Up and Say Ah, you've got to get people into the next. Just like Def Leppard released Women off of Hysteria first to try to keep the Pyromania people, Unskinny Bop was your successor to Nothing But a Good Time. And I don't know that any of these other songs would have been a better lead-off single for that album, and people not saying, This isn't Poison the way I want them to be.
What
You
about
couldn't have done something to believe in. You could
what
not have
about-
gone deep with these people.
what about
Ride the Wind could have worked.
Ride the Wind was
could
the
have.
first one I was thinking.
Ride the
Yeah.
Wind? Ride the Wind, in my opinion, 1,000,000% should have been the lead-off single.
Here's why I'll say no.
I think that's the perfect segue between Open Up and Say Ah and Flesh and Blood. Like go ahead.
The only reason I'll say I'll object is Unskinny Bop is the chant along chorus. Ride the Wind doesn't really have that. Yeah, you can sing along to Ride the Wind, but it's Unskinny Bop. So as you're bringing that to the MTV Awards or to Arsenio Hall or wherever, if you're promoting it, that's a song that the crowd can get in with. And that's what I think Ride the Wind lacks, that singability. That's it. Just from a presentation promotional standpoint. Yeah. Again, it's not my favorite song by any means.
I mean, it worked. It clearly worked. Yes. I mean, it was,
I think people were duped very well into buying an album that was more different than they thought it was based on a silly little song. So no, it's smart.
It's funny you bring up Arsenio Hall. I remember that performance on Arsenio Hall.
There you go. So that's it. That's my thoughts. Caton, did we get your number 4?
Yep. My number 4 was Talk Dirty to Me.
And Carsen, we got yours.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we are on to number 3. And,
all right.
I'll start with Caton on this one. Now, I think we're only into X territory at this point in time. Although,
so
the song I have on my list has not been brought up, so I'm guessing it's coming for everybody. But yet, I'm thinking of X's, and I'm not sure. So let's see.
Me?
Yeah.
Ready for me? All right. My number 3 has already been said. It's Life Loves a Tragedy. So, I thought. As soon as you guys said, hey, we're going to do, we did a Motley Crue video. And as soon as you said, we're going to do Poison, I remember the first thought that I had. And that was, well, I know what my number 1 is.
I think you actually texted us that. You're like, you're never going to guess my number 1.
I thought 100% that my number 1 would be Life Loves a Tragedy. I think that, I think it's the perfect song. I think it's beautiful. I think it has, I said earlier, I think that Life Goes On is CC DeVille's best solo. My favorite solo from CC DeVille is probably I don't know, man. It's hard. Life Loves a Tragedy and Life Goes On are my 2 favorites for sure. But go and listen if it's not top of mind. The solo in Life Loves a Tragedy is incredible. The lyrics, Carsen mentioned it earlier. I've always loved that. The nights I spent in danger with strangers I thought were friends, only to wake in anger or some pleasure they swore they'd sin. I think you're right. I think it's that it ages with us. And like when I hear that now, like when I was a kid, I loved this song, but I didn't know what tragedy was when I was a kid. I didn't know what life was going to throw at you when I was a kid. And like now when I hear this, like it hits different, it's still the same music, which was always like one of my favorite songs, but now the lyrics are so potent. And like you touched on it earlier, every time I hear it in recent years, it takes me back and I think about stuff just like you said, Carsen. It's like the night I spent in danger with strangers I thought were friends. Every time I hear that, I kind of start thinking back and I'm like, I was like, yeah, that was kind of a fun night, but like, I'm probably pretty fortunate that like, we made it out of that or whatnot. Mm-hmm. So it just hits different as somebody that's, pushing 50 now. I don't know. It really, I thought it would be number 1. That's how much I love this song.
Doesn't it speak to the amount of life lived in this lifestyle for them in, again, 6 years? Like they go from number 1 bad boy to this. Like it's 6 years of it's a rough life. It is not easy. As much as the ups are amazing, like obviously, but like for them to have this perspective at what are they, barely 30 at this point in time?
Yeah.
Like, and we're sitting here saying how it approaches to us in our 40s. Like they were there because they packed that much just into that first 6. Like it really speaks to the life that they were living. It shows you both sides without being negative toward it, and without being like, oh, this isn't everything we ever dreamed of. But they get that perspective a little earlier than the rest of us did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you think 6 years before, it's like, let me go to the show. And now not only are they the show, but like the toll of the show.
Yeah.
That that's, and there's, and life, obviously, regardless of what your job is or whatever, life takes its toll. And, like you said, they're barely 30 and they're already discovering that. And then for us, just whatever it is, life throws at you. And it is the looking back. I think this song makes me so nostalgic, but also like you were saying, like, wow, in not always the best of ways. Like you said, it's like there are situations I come up with in my head, like, ooh, yeah, that could have gone really sideways, and I'm glad it didn't. But it's just that song, and I think all of our bands have at least one of those songs that grows with us, and you just find more and more your affection for it, and that's absolutely Life, Love's a Tragedy for me.
Yeah, and I don't know if we talked about this earlier when you had it. I mean, let's talk about the intro of the song. I mean, just the way it starts, right? And then it kicks. I mean, of all the lies I've spoken, or of all the, and lies that I've told. I mean, I love the way it starts. It's powerful. And then when it kicks in, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, there's that epic, to me, it's like it's building that buildup feels like it's about to be this big epic, musically song. And then the guitar kicks and you're like, okay, it's still Poison here. You know what I mean? And, but even that, like, is musically, like, I get so deep on this, but like, is that musically a metaphor? Because like you built up what you think life is going to be and then what it actually is. Now, I'm sure they didn't go that deep, but maybe they did. I don't know. But also, isn't that what music is about? That we can project ourselves and our feelings about it. And there is something to be said for the juxtaposition of how it starts versus what it kicks into.
Of all the hearts I've broken and lies that I've told, that's been bothering me here. I'm messing up the lyrics. But I love the intro. Yeah, it's a powerful song. Man, I love Poison. Holy smokes, I love Poison.
Isn't that so true? That is the coolest thing about doing these things is we are going back and we're pitting their songs against each other as of which ones do I love more, and we're listening to them again because when was the last time you sat and listened to Poison for a week or Motley Crue for a week? So no, this has been a riot to me. This is just good, and it reconnects you. There are the songs that you love since you were, in my case, 7 years old that. I love him for the same reason I loved him when I was 7. And then there's something I hear now that I should have been listening to for 30 years. And I go, oh, wait a minute. That hits different. Like 10 years ago, I don't know, Life Goes On would have been on my list. Like, it's just different. And that's cool. It's not every band can do that. And again, they packed just what we're talking about from the era we're talking about. They packed that into 6 years. It's insane. Carsen, you're number 3.
My number 3 is Nothing But a Good Time.
Right,
I think
Caton, we'll talk about his later. You and I can talk about it.
Okay. I don't mind waiting.
No.
Okay.
No.
Thing is, I literally have nothing written about it because it's nothing but a good time. And okay. So I mentioned before, I feel like these last 3 songs, we're going to get into a lot of my adoration for them, but also the live. I talked about Poison live and Nothing But a Good Time, as much as it's already amazing. And we talked earlier, you were talking about Fallen Angel and the beginning of that video that sometimes they would cut off because it was like the story. And we would get the beginning of Nothing But a Good Time with the guy and the dishes and, like, get your button gear, you're out of here. And you're like, you're
moving in 2 speeds, slow and stop.
And stop. And
remember
and
he's playing Kiss as he's washing the
No,
dishes.
Yes.
no.
Oh, no, wait.
No. He's playing Poison's cover of Rock and Roll All Night.
That's
Well,
that's right.
Yeah,
not
that's
Kiss.
right.
That's
That's
And I was
from
like, wait,
the
I thought it was
from
Rock and Roll
the
Night. You're right.
it is from the Less Than Zero soundtrack.
Yeah.
Which that I had a hard time not putting that cover on my list. I really wanted to.
Dude,
It actually lost to Sexy Back in the end.
I know. And I
As
feel like
most things do.
but there's also like a really good story with you with that. And that's why I kind of like, we may have to talk about that, but it kind of, we can lead into, because like I'm talking about Nothing But a Good Time it is exactly what I wanted my life to be. As I was watching that video, as I was watching Headbangers Ball, as I was a 5th grader, and it was like, this is going to be my life. Nothing but a good time. And you know what? I've kind of done it. I'm not saying it looks like Poison. I'm not saying it looks like 1980s LA. But really, if you want to encompass how I have lived my life, it is nothing but a good time. And when I think about it live, it's just you're so, as much as like going to see Poison is a blast. Every song they play is going to be great and you're going to be into it. But when they kick into Nothing But a Good Time, you're so like the crowd is losing it. They've already lost it. And somehow they manage to just even more. Like whatever is left in the tank, they are given. And I always have to talk about one of my favorite memories of singing this song, that it still makes me smile, that I briefly dated a guy that was affiliated with Poison. And we were on stage, but like, whatever. And we were sitting on an amp. And we're listening to Nothing But a Good Time. And because I really predominantly listen to Poison at shows, like I don't necessarily always plug in Nothing But a Good Time in the car, because how many times do I go see them on a tour? I see them so much. So when I go to sing the lyrics to Nothing But a Good Time, I'm singing the live lyrics, right? I'm singing the ones that Bret has changed up. And so we're singing, and we hit, and I changed the lyrics, right? Like, and dude looks at me and he's like, oh, shoot, you really, yeah. He's like, busting your ass every day. And he's like, oh my, he's like, you really do know this. It's like, yeah, I do. And he just like, he just grabbed me a little bit tighter around the waist. And I felt so proud that I was like, yes, I'm a girl who loves this music, and I'm with a guy who gets it. And it was like, it was short-lived and it was fun and it was saccharine, but it was just that cool moment of being appreciated for being such a fangirl of this live music, and someone being like, no, girl, that's cool though. And I love that. It still like gives me a warm feeling thinking about someone thinking, yeah, you love Poison this hard, and that's cool.
All right.
It's my number 2.
Yep.
It's my what was it? Your number 3 or your number 2?
It's my number 3.
It's my number 2. Why don't I just go ahead and chime in now? Yeah, I mean, we're here. A couple things. This song never gets old to me, ever. So it's not possible for it to be overplayed to me or get old. Like I love it that much. I've said this a couple times about things I would play to someone if they had never, if they were living under a rock and I'd never, hands down, if I was going to show someone what glam rock was, what falls under that umbrella and what, and the song, but it would be this video. The Nothing But a Good Time video is my favorite glam rock video of all time. And I love it. I love when the dude kicks down the door. I mean, it's ingrained in my head. I can remember being a kid, the Poison neon green was everywhere. I mean, he kicks the door in and you see the big Poison logo. Bret standing there with the mic stand, and he's got his legs like kind of spread out. You see the Poison logo in between his legs. And I mean, just the Poison green. I remember thinking like, holy smokes, like this would be the best live band like on the planet. I mean, you know, the sparks, it was just every scene and shot, you know, they had a different outfit on and a different guitar so this, I think, visually encompasses the era and the genre perfectly, literally perfectly, and better than any other video. You know, today I was like, man, who was the guy that was washing dishes? And it actually took me a while, but I found out who it was. This guy's name was Geno Andrews, Geno. And get this. It's the same guy that was in Motley Crue's "You're All I Need" video that never got played because it got banned. The same guy. And I actually found his name today, and I found a little podcast that he did, a little snippet, and he was talking about doing the two videos. And it was really cool because this guy said that in the video, the ending was supposed to be they were going to flash back to him like they do. They flash back to the kid at the dishes when Poison's done with their deal. And the boss was supposed to come back in there to check on him. And he was going to like dump the dishes on, like pour the dishes on him or like, you know, throw the dishes down and walk out. And the actor, this Geno guy, didn't like that. He's like, I just did not think that was a cool ending. And he said, I made the recommendation to the director about what have you thought about having the boss come back in and the kid's sitting there because he's just been poisoned and he's just, you know, imagine this, you know, live and confetti's coming down like he was really a part of the party or whatever. And that's what they did. And he's like, I thought it was so cool that like they took that recommendation from just an actor they had to come in. And I'm glad he did because I love that ending when they flash back and the confetti and the boss is like, what is going on here?
And the dishes are done, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
it is such a much better ending because it's that's sticking it to him. Like throwing the dishes at him is like, you know, like if somebody does that, like if that's a real life thing, you're like, well, I told you he was a punk kid anyway. He bested the boss. And that's right. What's so great about that ending.
That's right. That's right. He also said in that video, that some fun facts. He said that CC was just total New York. That's what he said. Like in the, you know, the little time he got to spend with them in between takes and things, CC was just, you know, total New York and just a spaz. He said that CC climbed up to the top of the rafters and they used it in the video. He's up there with the pink guitar. He was not supposed to do that. And he said he did that just in total CC fashion. They were not happy with him. He remembers them yelling at him, "We are not insured for this, CC. Come down." And he was like, "Get me my guitar up here." And so like that wasn't supposed to happen. And that was apparently pretty risky, but CC was like, "I'm doing it." And he said that Bret didn't hang out that much. He said that Rikki was kind of of any of them, like the most kind of haughty acting kind of towards him. Like he didn't really give him the time of day. But he said CC was really cool and he didn't say anything about Bobby. But I got to tell you this real quick. This guy was in the "You're All I Need" video. And he said 20 years later-ish, his kids were in elementary school at the same school in California with Nikki Sixx's kids. And he saw Nikki at some parent deal. And he said he reintroduced himself to Nikki and said, you know, "Hey, you know, many moons ago, I met you. I was in this video." And he said, you know, I know he did. And he was very with it, you know, and present minded at the time. But he said, he literally looked at me like he didn't remember you know, who the kid was in the video, the concept of the video. He's like, he looked at me like he didn't even remember the song.
Did they make a video for that one?
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm saying it's what Nikki was thinking. Like, we didn't do a
Exactly.
video for that.
That's what he said. He's like, I honestly don't even know that he remembered that they made a video for that. And I just thought that was great because he was saying he was completely sober and present minded, but he was just like, really? Did we do that? You were the kid from that? So anyway, I thought it was great that he was in both videos.
That's really cool.
Can we talk very quickly? I wanted to mention from that video that when he kicks the door open and there's Poison playing, how many times it took me watching that video to realize that was just Poison, that it wasn't a crowd, that it wasn't a concert. Because the visual that part of it is sure the way they shot it, but it's also the energy that Poison brings. It took me so many times to figure out, like, he's not going to a Poison concert. Poison's just there.
Yep.
Because again, they were larger than life. That video is larger than life. The set is larger than life. The way they all present themselves is larger. And it feels like in that visual mindset, how is there not a crowd there? And yet, obviously, we know there's not. It took me so many times of watching that video to realize this isn't a concert video. They were on a soundstage.
I was actually
Poison. They were just there to help him do the dishes, Carsen.
We've all been there, right?
That's true. It's true.
I kicked down my door and it was Jefferson Starship, and it didn't help me at all. It was they're like, Jane, and I'm like, that's not working for me, guys. Sorry. I was going to say, it's funny you bring that up, that Poison were the masters of the crowdless stage video. Talk dirty to me. There's no crowd. There's no crowd in Unskinny Bop. It's with that, you don't have to worry about an audience not being able to see. So they're in a warehouse where someone built the stage, and that's where they go, you know what? The camera's on us and we can show you what we're going to do. And it's not just a performance, it's amped up to the end. It's the stuff you couldn't do live. CC on top of the rafters. It's the stuff you couldn't do live because you're taken out of the moment. But this might be what a Poison show is like. They made you want to go. And the thing about Poison is, as we've said, we've all seen them live. To this day, they deliver that. And that's impressive. There's so many bands you see who to this day disappoint you. As you mentioned earlier, Caton, you go out of loyalty. Poison, you go because you know it's going to be fun. So
it's going to be nothing but a good time.
Yeah, that was my number 6, if you recall. Again, just unfortunately overplayed, and it fell. And again, there's so many songs that just hit me different now. But like you, I say this is the reason I never got into grunge. Was that at 7 years old, I was promised nothing but a good time, and I wasn't old enough to realize the world sucks. So by the time 93 rolls around and I'm 12, I still want nothing but a good time. I'm not ready for whatever is happening there. I'm not in that headspace. I'm 12. Life's still pretty okay. So I still am pursuing nothing but a good time. I can't get down with Black Hole Sun. Just why I never got into it. So blame this song.
Exactly the song I was thinking of. I don't know why my head went to Black Hole Sun too.
I mean, I was going to bring up I Don't Have a Gun, but it just,
Yikes.
I'm actually going to skip my number 3 entirely. I'm going to play a game here, and I'm going to skip my number 3 because I think it's Caton's number 1 based on what I've heard and what I haven't heard. And you don't have to confirm with me, Caton, but I think we are talking about a non-single. So that's my guess. If I'm wrong, I'm not even going to get to talk about my number 3. I'm taking the risk. This is just something fun. Just something
I like this.
I know. I'm taking a risk, but I have an idea. I could be so wrong. But I'm going to skip my number 3, and I will go to my number 2 because Carsen's already brought it up and you guys have already talked about it. It is Power to the People. I love this song. I am strange, and the fact that we heard it when I talked about Motley, you'll hear it when I talk about Def Leppard. I like when I love a band, and I usually find them for their most biggest hits, right? Nothing But a Good Time, Pour Some Sugar on Me, Dr. Feelgood. I discover these bands when they're at their peak, and that's what makes me love them. But man, I love when they stretch their legs. I love when I'm into these bands and I'm there for the ride. And when they decide to really go out of that comfort zone, I often find that is something that connects. Power to the People connected. And seeing it live was absolutely huge. I agree with that. I still remember to this day Bobby Doll looking directly down at me because I'm against the barricade, singing the song because I'm singing it, and I'm sure I was one of two people. The other one is sitting right there who was singing the song with him. But like, I just remember that, and I remember just loving the vibe. I love Cece's guitar on it. It sounds different, but it's still Cece. I will go with Caton that I don't love the distortion on the voice as much, which Bret likes to employ a lot nowadays. It's just because it's obviously a sound he likes, but the song just pumps you up. That the big drums in it are just so good. The chorus, of course, is just so huge and fun. It was a love letter to the fans, and it was supposed to be about, you know what, we've got the best fans in the world here. We've given you everything, and thank you for everything, and let's go out and party again. And that's what they did. And they took us on this tour, which is another reason I bought this shirt, because I'm like, it says Power to the People on it, and I want that. So that's my number 2. Like I said, I know you guys have talked about it, but it just hits right. And like I said, I love the guitars, I love the drums, everything about it.
I also wanted to add in what you mentioned, live. I think that's again what made me fall for it, is because like we were talking about, you got to hey, show my ticket stub, and I could go the next night to go see Poison. Like, I know I've seen Poison somewhere in the 60s, like the amount of time I've seen it somewhere is 60 something. But part of that is because we got to go to all this, like, just, you just kept going. And Power to the People was just, again, live, you made me fall in love with it. And which so smart. And not every band can do that, especially when you're talking about newer, unfamiliar songs at a time where everybody knows your greatest hits. And hey, you came back and yeah, you're great. You're playing the song. It's kind of cool live, but we really want to hear Talk Dirty to Me. And to have that kind of impact live speaks to, yes, the power of the song, but also the power of the performance of it. That live, it was so good that yes, I will listen to it on a CD or on my Spotify and still be as enthralled by it. But the live is what sold it.
Well, it's interesting when I look at my top 5. I have 2 songs from Power to the People in my top 5. There are five new songs on that album. 2 of them are 2 of my best ever. There is a funny thing where it's like, again, there was a time in your life where you could just sit and listen to albums. And whether that was when you were 6, 7, for me, it was actually later when I could buy them and digest them a lot, which is my late teens. So this hits in an era where you will find a lot of my favorite albums in total come out. So these 5 tracks, I listened to them all, and I love Can't Bring Me Down. I love the last song. Like, this is all solid stuff. So Poison, to me, those 5 songs made me think, man, whatever their next album is going to be incredible. Oh, well, I can't always get them right.
I like what you said about you being later in your teens, and when you bought it, and you said something similar with Motley Crue. And I can't remember if it was New Tattoo or if it was Saints of Los Angeles, but you said, I think it was New Tattoo. It was, and you said you played it at your radio station. You bought it. Do you remember saying something similar?
That would have been Saints that we would have played. And anything.
I think it was something that you had on your list for sure. So I don't know if you had anything from Saints, but it was something you were just talking about in affinity for. Oh, I know what it was. No, it was Generation Swine.
Oh yeah.
So maybe you didn't play it, but you just said, you said, I bought it, and it was new Motley Crue, and it wasn't like I was getting into it and it was old stuff that you were getting into, right? It was like, no, like, this is my Motley Crue. I can go buy this. This is current day. This is,
Poison. This was my first new music Poison I could buy on my own.
So I think it's a similar type situation there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And where did this fall on your list?
This is my number 2. Oh,
yeah. But what was it on your list?
Wasn't too far back.
I just think it's I think
Can
it's
you guys
really
hear me? It was my battery was low. Yeah, I think it was number. No, it wasn't 5. Was it 4?
I think it was 4 on yours.
okay.
I
So
think.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm
so
trying to get my note cards out here. Yeah, it was 4. It was 4.
top 5 for both of you guys.
Yep.
That's really cool, and I think that goes to show. I mean, clearly the power of the song and the power of the people and the power to the people.
Yeah.
And the power of the live show. The power that is a Poison live show. Again, I know we keep harping on it. I keep harping on it, but you can't oversell a Poison show because they're always going to deliver.
Carsen, your number 2, because we've already got Caton's.
Okay, my number 2 was Fallen Angel. Because look, again, something I don't need to make notes. I can just tell you Fallen Angel, as much as it's a cautionary tale, sure. But I also watched that video because it's so ingrained in my head, and they're sitting around the dinner table, and then she's gonna be on the bus. And yeah, that could have been my life. I mean, not really, but it was, and I didn't necessarily want to be Fallen Angel. But yeah, she stepped off the bus out onto those city streets. Like, even at a young age, Hyde and I are from a suburb, smallish town in Connecticut. I always knew I wanted more. I always knew I wanted out. I knew I wanted bigger. And that maybe wasn't Los Angeles, but there was just more. There was more than what was beyond my 5th grade. There was more than what was beyond 8th grade, what was beyond my senior year of high school. And Fallen Angel, and even to say like, oh, it means that much to me and it's that deep. It's also, I mean, the fact that Cece like rips out the gate with that guitar. Like, you haven't even hit lyrics. We're not even talking a solo. This is just straight up. This is the intro. Oh my God, dude. And then when you get into the like it right there, the rhythmic of it, when you get into the drums, it's just such a great song. Even if you take the lyrics and the story of it out. Musically, it's phenomenal. And, people can argue overplayed, but Fallen Angel will never be overplayed to me. I will never not be in a mood to hear Fallen Angel. And live, I start bouncing around like Tigger. I'm like, it's like, I could have been up for 48 hours, but you took me to see Poison and they're about to play Fallen Angel. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm going to bounce up and down. I'm going to dance. I'm going to shake my hips like, yeah. Because that's the other thing. Poison shows are fun for women. It is a good time. Nothing but.
All right, before we get into our number 1s, now that I know the deck is clear, I do want to give special mention to the song where I mentioned earlier, Rikki Rocket's hi-hat work. And it's Your Mama Don't Dance. That intro. I love what he's doing. Yeah. I love that he's swinging on that thing a little bit. I love that. It's just really, really cool. So I just wanted to say that because I don't think that's anybody's number 1. Spoiler alert.
Can we do a special mention since we're doing them? I would love for Caton to have one because I realized somehow I screwed up my list. And look what the cat dragged in isn't on it. And
I think it's on Caton's list.
Wow, you did screw up your list, man. That's a big mess, Carsen.
That is a big miss.
Okay.
It happens.
No, it's just because I don't know. So whatever. All I want to say when I'm talking about the live show, the fact that opens the live show, and every time, even if I hear it in the car, it gets me hyped. So
I have a feeling we'll be talking about it.
That's all. Okay. So yep.
Because remember, I skipped my number 3.
Straight up. I was looking through my note cards, going, wait a minute. What?
So where are we right now?
Number 1.
I think we're at number 1.
Okay. So
your number 2 was Nothing But a Good Time.
Yeah. Right, what was your number 2, Carsen? Fallen Angel?
Yeah.
Okay. You just talked about your number 2. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So you're gonna get to talk about your number 3, Hyde. So look what the cat dragged in. I mean, listen, guys. I mean, the nasty, sleazy guitar intro. Yes. I mean, it's my favorite Poison song of all time. I mean, it opens, they open darn near every show with it. I mean, every tour that I can remember. I mean, I don't know. It's just it's funny. The last week I kind of ogled a little bit, but I never really did. Like I thought it was going to be, I thought it was going to be Life Loves a Tragedy when we first started talking about this. And then I kind of quickly was like, oh man, I forgot about Look What the Cat Dragged In. And then, I kind of for a while over the last week was like, well, I don't know, man. Maybe it's Nothing But a Good Time. Like maybe it's Nothing But a Good Time is the all-time anthem. But just the crunch and the dirtiness and the nastiness of that guitar and the way CC just leads into that, it's just, I don't know. There's something about that. Look What the Cat Dragged In that just tops it all for me. It's my number one. It's easy.
To me, this is the song that if as much as I have other songs I like more, for me, if somebody were to say to me, I don't understand Poison, you'll understand Poison here. This song encapsulates Poison. It's why it's my number 3. Number 1, just living my life sin after sin. There you are. That summed up everybody in LA, but nobody else had the guts to write it. Let's just be real. Like that's what everyone was doing. That's what Vince Neil was doing. That's what everybody, only Bret Michaels could get away with. I got a girl on the left of me, a girl on the right. I know damn well I slept with both last night. Like, yes. And have no girl go, ew, what a disgusting guy. Everyone's going, that's cool, Bret. You're good. You're good people. Bret can get away with that because Bret has that sincerity to him. And Bret has a charisma to him that you're not going to be mad at him for sleeping with both last night. And if you're a girl, you want to be the next one. Like, it doesn't change anything. And again, what an amazing title for an album where they're dressed in the full makeup. And it literally is, any grandparent would have looked at a poster of them and said, oh, look what the cat dragged. It's perfect. Like they nailed it.
It's the best. I said earlier, Look What the Cat Dragged In and Open Up and Say album titles for the genre. Look What the Cat Dragged In is the best album title of the genre. Period. And that trumps, in my mind, others that are so iconic. Slippery When Wet, Shout at the Devil, right? I mean, but Look What the Cat Dragged In. And again, I have a soft spot for sleaze, and that is about the sleaziest album cover and sleaziest album title and sleaziest sounding song. Look What the Cat Dragged In. And it's just awesome. I mean, oh my God, look what the cat dragged in. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, dude. These guys are, I mean, they are not, it just, I don't know, man. I think it's like people may have different views. I mean, I love that album cover.
Yes.
And I love how they are, more glammed out than anyone ever, arguably, maybe other than Pretty Boy Floyd. I mean, they on this album cover, I mean, literally, I can remember being a kid, like, maybe even before I was into them, because I kind of probably got into, Open Up and Say and then went backwards maybe. But I mean, looking at it, you're thinking like, Rikki Rocket, like that's one of the hottest chicks I've ever seen. And then it's like, oh, hang on, man, hang on. You know what's funny? People always choose Rikki whenever they say that.
You know why?
Three can't.
Oh, is that right?
No,
Rikki
I'm gonna tell you why.
That's funny.
He's got the cat eye. He has cat and eye where they go, like it's Taylor Swift lyric, cat and eye sharp enough to kill a man. And I actually have that written in my notes here about Ricky's cat eye. The contour on CC DeVille, like gives himself cheekbones, the hollow, that does not get enough love for freaking makeup on there. But Rikki is so pretty with the glow and the cat eye. Like, I wish my makeup looked like that.
Now, I'll say, Caton, you did a disservice because it's not, oh my God, look what the cat dragged in. It's, oh my God. And that's the thing. Again, They open every show with this. It's not a single. And everyone sings along. Everyone knows, oh my God. There's not a single person in that crowd who's like, oh, I don't know this one. It's not a single. Everyone knows it, which is the power of the song that I can't believe it's not a single. Because
I forget.
Why wouldn't you? But it's not.
I forget that it wasn't a single. Like I every few years I forget, and I'm like, oh yeah. Like I have to remind my. It's like I'll hear something, and I'm like, and that actually wasn't a single. It's just weird to me that it's the name of the album.
Yep.
It's the best song on the album, in my mind, best Poison song of all time. And so it's just interesting. It's very interesting that maybe I don't know. I mean, I'm probably giving a little too much credit for whoever at the label or in the band, but I don't know. Maybe they thought it would grow legs organically anyway, because it was the name of the album and it was such a killer song. Maybe they kind of thought, we don't have to release this thing. It's going to become an anthem anyway. I don't know.
Who knows? Carsen, this did not make your list, so I was going to ask you what your thoughts are on it.
Proof here. Here's the problem. I was using check marks on this side of the songs, and then if you look at Cat Dragged In, I made a check mark over here. I put it on the wrong side of the song, and I am an idiot. So I'm very angry with myself because it would have been a top 5.
So I know what happened. And here's the reason why I know what happened. Because I also had multiple lists and all.
Yep.
And so finally, like, I was worried that something like this was going to happen. And so on my list, and I even have it 1 through 15, but I've scribbled through so much stuff. I went through and put a purple check by the things that were definite, meaning like there's no scenario this doesn't make your list. And then it was the purple check that I used to check myself. So I almost had it happen to me.
Between lists and note cards, I really try, and I'm like, and I just, like I said, I'm sitting here going, I think we got to number 5, and I'm like, wait, look what the Cat Dragged In. Like, so I was like startled that I didn't have it.
At what point in the video did you realize that you had left it off? That's what I want to know.
Oh, at like song 5, because I assumed it was a top 5 because it would have been a top 5, and I'm like, wait, and then I was like, well, no, hold on, like No More Looking Back was 5. And 4 was Power to the People. Wait, and I knew what my top 3 were, and I was like, shoot, man.
Well, I got you, man.
I'm glad
number
that
1
you showed up. But dude,
and honestly,
but again,
this one for me, if I'd thought about it, I wouldn't. I don't think I think was even going to be my number 1 on Look What the Cat Dragged In. Like, quick overview. I knew we were doing Poison. This wasn't occurring to me that like, oh, you know what's going to be my number 1 off that album is definitely. It was literally just side by side going, nah, nothing's better than that on that album. Like, nope, that thing's solid. Now, I know Carsen will disagree in a moment.
Right.
So we're going to go to my number 1.
Wait, I didn't get to talk about it.
No, you
talk about it.
You forgot it. You lost all your privileges.
No, but no, it isn't. But it's again that like when you're waiting for Poison to come out, and you're getting that hype, and the crowd's getting psyched. And
they're playing Back in Black.
Yes. And you know what they're coming out with. And it's just like, and because like you said, Caton, it's the sleaze, it's the grit, it's dirty, and yet it's hype. And it does get you going. And it's testament to live. It's testament to the power of Poison live. And that Look What the Cat Dragged In. Even the night rolls up and I'm going to do it again. It's the unapologetically, yeah, this is how I'm living my life, and I'm going to keep doing it. Which, for an hour and a half at a Poison show, aren't we all becoming that person? It doesn't matter that, like, on the way home, even, you've got to, like, I got to pick something up, like, shoot, like, run by the grocery store because you don't have eggs for the morning. I don't know. But, or you've got a report due at work on Monday. I don't know if people still have that. But, whatever it is that's happening in your life, for that hour and a half, you're like, yeah, that is my life. Look what the Cat Dragged In. I'm bad, I'm hard, and I'm gonna keep doing this, man. Like, it gives you that it gives you, whether or not you have it, it gives you that backbone and that self-confidence. And it's so good because it takes you through the entire show on that level. It's such a great mood set.
I got a girl on the left of me, a girl on the right. I know damn well I'll see him at PTA tomorrow.
I always love the lyrics to half alive, half dead. I just can't tell.
Yes.
Always loved. I mean, it's just such a nasty and gritty and dirty and sin after sin, like you said, Hyde. I mean, it's just such a, it's everything like that put into a blender, and it's just
think about that. It's a song from 1985. So we have 20 plus years until Instagram becomes a thing. That song is nothing but caption after caption after caption. It like straight up every single lyric, every single line will be somebody's Instagram caption.
Mhm.
Whether or not they're actually living that life, it makes you feel cool. Every line in that song makes you feel cool.
I'm curious where you don't have to give me the exact number, but directionally, where would this have fallen in your list, Carsen?
Oh, it would have been top 5. It would have been.
Okay.
It's possible. It's possible it would have pushed Nothing But a Good Time to 4. I still, given the sentimentality I have for Nothing But a Good Time, I think this would have been number 4, and everything else would have shifted down. Yeah. Oh no, this was meant to be high. It absolutely was. But like I just, you get tunnel vision when you're in these lists.
Mm-hmm. And it still holds up. So, like we know Stephen Hawking was like a genius. We know Albert Einstein was a genius. But I want to celebrate whoever it was that was listening to the band play the song, whether they were in the band or outside of the band, and they heard, "Oh my God," and then went, "My God!" Like who's that guy? Because that's real genius. Because you gave us an extra chant, you gave us an extra backing vocal. So, like, sure, theories of relativity are fantastic, but I'll take "My God" any day.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there.
Well said. Well said.
So my number 1, Carsen brought it up already. Sounds like it got moved down in her list now. Is No More Looking Back, Poison Jazz from Swallow This Live.
Man, that's number 1, huh?
That is number 1. Has been for probably almost 30 years. Just love it. And it's interesting because again, we write Fallen Angel, we write Shooting Star. No More Looking Back is the bro version. My friend called just the other day, packed it up. He won't be back this way. It's not your heart, but the spirit they break. There's only so much a small town boy can take. Like right there. Like this is another LA chews you up and spits you out story. And yet it's also no more looking back. Not worried about it. We're not like, I'm done and I'm okay being done. And I've always just liked the riff on it. I like the music on it, but obviously there's a bit more happening in the words than other Poison songs, but it feels like could have been a Flesh and Blood type song.
Yeah.
Not sure why it's called Poison Jazz. Love the breakdown with the vocals and the big hits. Just again, I've loved this song for a long time. I've probably played it more than anybody else in the world because I'm not sure anybody else loves it. And especially because on the 2 vinyl set of Swallow This Live you could buy, this song was left off because there wasn't room on the 2 records. So a lot of people who may have bought this thing didn't even have this song. And then I had to get it on a Korean version. That was 1 record. That was the best on side 1 of the live, and side 2 was all the new songs. That's how I had to have this thing on vinyl. And believe me, I had to have it on vinyl. There's 1 like Columbia House 2 record set that actually does have it.
Oh,
But
really?
hard to find. Yeah, that
Wow.
particular version, hard to find, but it does exist. So again, Swallow This Live, as I said, in my top 10, 2 of those bonus tracks are in my top 10. Also, looking at my list just real quick, thought this was fun. In the top 5, I've got 3 title tracks. The only title track I think I'm missing is Hollyweird. And it just didn't make the cut. But I had Power to the People, Cat Dragged In, and Flesh and Blood. And I'm the only one with Flesh and Blood. Sad.
Yeah. And that's why I love these lists, man. Like, you've got Flesh and Blood. None of us had it, but like you didn't have Fallen Angel on your list. And I'm like, that's mind blowing to me. Right.
I get it.
But that's why I think, but it's equally as mind blowing to me that both of you have Power to the People in your top 5. Not like mind-blowingly in a cool way. That's what I think is so great about, music.
Well,
And
here's the other thing, though, that I do have to explain, because obviously we're brother and sister, and we've spent a lot of time in cars together. And this one controls the music, which means no more looking back, Power to the People, Bittersweet, like all that kind of stuff. He's got playlists. So I've heard it for years, and it is an earworm. And that doesn't take away from the validity of these songs, but it's also, like I said, a lot of them, they started with the live. Like Power to the People absolutely started live for me. But because I had him for so long, for the repetition of it, that it wasn't just straight up playing like greatest hits, that he would make these lists, and it stayed top of mind for me. And also reinforced they're great songs, regardless of how much I heard them through him or on my own, because, we also haven't lived in the same state for close to 10 years. But those songs are still there because they're that worthy of it. Like No More Looking Back was my number 5. Now we'd push it to number 6, but you know what I'm saying. Which that also, like, straight up, like CC on there, before you even go into the second verse, he does like that neck slide down the guitar. And it's so good. Is it necessary? I don't know, but it's great in the song.
It's the my God of this song.
Yeah, it's just, but it like really does add something. The song would have been great without. It's just, that was a nice, again, it's just another one of those things that, like, when I listen to it, like in my mind, I'm waiting for it. I'm just waiting for that slide. And it's interesting. I never even thought about this was the male fallen angel, because I always kind of more looked at it as, like, honestly, like, they're kind of bitching about the Hollywood machine. And I'm like, yeah, but aren't you guys successful? Like, this is like 91. I'm like, what are you complaining about? Like, it took you, what, a year? You showed up in 84, you had an album in 85. Like, you're doing just fine. But you're right. It's the story of somebody else, like the best friend.
Well, and even like going into where Poison, where I keep saying like how their lyrics fit rhythmically and melodically like a glove with the music. See all the faces pale, boom, shot to hell when the system failed. Like all of that, drinking life through the empty glasses. Like they know how to wrap their lyrics in the music is the best way I can put it. It's like a damn Hershey kiss.
Also,
how many other people have described Poison's music as a Hershey kiss? How many?
But like the chorus, the way like we were talking about on Native Tongue with Rikki Carsen, and really being like a second vocalist as opposed to a backup singer, like just the addition of him brings something different. And this is the best example of the layered vocal as opposed to an additional vocalist. Like This is a background layer, and it really does help like fatten the chorus. It really does a great job. They do a great job with the production of this song.
All right. If there's nothing else, let's get to Carsen's number 1, which was on our lists as well.
I mean, it's always, look, you could have asked Hyde. He would have told you her number 1 is Talk Dirty to Me. He knows. He absolutely knows. That's always been it. That is always my number 1. There is nothing I want to hear more live. When I say I bounce up and down, I dance. I have it. It's on my workout playlist. It is on my hype happy song playlist. It is Talk Dirty to Me is just, it's so funny too, because lyrically, again, it's like, he's just like calling up a chick, like talk dirty to me. And like, I know that little bitch ain't home, because you have to sing a live version. And, screaming for more and more and more. It's so much fun live with those changes. And I look forward to it every time. And again, I told you, I think when I went to go see Crossroads, and they put me up in front in Crossroads because I was wearing that Open Up and Say Oz shirt that you had on earlier. And they were like, they came to me and they're like, hey, so you're a fan? I'm like, oh yeah. They're like, would you guys like to be in the front? I'm like, sure would like to be in front of Bret Michaels. And they do Talk Dirty to Me. And I'm like, now this is a TV taping. He's probably not going to do what we're used to with the live version. And I would like to be on TV singing Bret Michaels songs. So I'm going to sing what I think he's going to do, the studio version, because he's doing it with another person. And so like Chris Jansen doesn't know that you scream more, more, more. So I'm like, we're gonna sing the studio version of this song. Because even that, like, I'm so like, I would love to be on television singing this song with Bret Michaels. It's just, this song it is Poison. It is the attitude. It is the sex. It's the fun. It's the live. To me, this is Poison. This is it. This is the song.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It maybe my favorite small snippet moment in any Poison song, you know, the intro when CC puts that guitar pick on that string. I mean, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I love it.
Even that though, but the riff,
that needs to be the title of this video. Oh my God. Oh my God.
but the riff in Talk Dirty to Me, will never get old. I am never sick of hearing it. It is never enough. That is a song that you could play it on repeat for me for 3 hours. I'll be like, we can hear it again. It's okay. It is just that good time after time. And it's a short song. So that would be a lot of plays in 3 hours.
Where did this fall on your list, Hyde?
This was number 8.
8. Wow, way down.
Again, I'm weird. We know this. I just play spoiler. That's all it is.
Did any of us have I Want Action in our list? No. Okay.
And it's not that it's bad. It's just, again, when you're, like you said, when you start ranking on Look What the Cat Dragged In, Hyde's got it.
And yes, they do.
Like I don't know that, again, there's so much good on that record anyway, that if it falls to be the bottom half of what's still all awesome, but when you've got the standouts with like Cat Dragged In and Cry Tough, it's like something's got to give. Something's got to give.
For me, I Want Action isn't even the top half of the album.
Well, I
don't love the song. Like,
it's a bottom half for
It's-
sure.
It's probably number 9 or 10 for me. I don't like the song very much. Live, it's fine, but I just think it's one of the weaker songs, even though it did get the single release. I just doesn't do it for me for whatever reason. So Carsen, because this is Poison's Callin' Baton Rouge, I'm just wondering if you're just into songs where people call people.
I mean, gosh, you're right. Well, I mean, Pour Some Sugar on Me, they talk about the red iPhone.
See?
But no, that's, God, I never put that together. And also, like, the highlight of either set, like my favorite, like Garth Brooks, I can go see you, but like as long as I get that 2.5 minutes of Callin' Baton Rouge, that's all I need. And you're right, like Talk Dirty to Me, it is, man, all I want is someone to call me on the phone. That's all I need.
Text Dirty to Me.
I mean, okay, Motley Crue. My friends called today down from LA.
Yep.
I don't know.
Who knew?
I mean, I will say songs from Def Leppard about answering machines, not good.
This one, like I said, it was low on mine. Just again, it falls into the overplayed and just songs that mean more to me. But it gets you hyped without a doubt. And now finishes the Poison show. I miss the days of them doing Rock and Roll All Night. So that was just a fun little finale. And now it's just, we end nothing but a good time. And it's, we're not leaving here until you. And there we are. But I do miss the Rock and Roll All Night of it all. And I really was wondering if anybody was going to put that on their list.
Well, I was going to say, even though we didn't, you should tell your Rock and Roll All Night story.
Oh, I should.
Because does Caton know the story? I'm sure you've told him, but it's probably been years.
Well, and this is the sad thing is, like, this is back when Poison came back around in 99, 2000, up to 2001. For the encore, they would let the first few rows of fans come up on stage. And, like, it was just, if you can get over the guardrail, come on up. Security, don't hold them back. And the first year in 99, with the one Carsen didn't attend, I was on the lawn, so I didn't have a shot. But we actually got to the barricade the second year in 2000.
Do you want to know how we got to the barricade?
There's a scalping story in this.
No, it's not scalping.
No, there was a scalper, but it wasn't us.
Oh, well, because back in the day, no, that was Tesla that was the scalper.
Oh, was it? Oh.
It was back in the day. You had to wait in line for tickets or you called, right? Like you called Ticketron, Ticketmaster, whoever it was. But I went to the box office at the Shed where they were playing in Hartford. And I waited in line starting at 6 a.m. And I was like fourth in line. And they had, when they finally opened at 10, they had 3 cashiers, whatever. They had 3 people open where you could go buy tickets. So I am literally now second in line. There's a problem with the printer. And so people who are behind me are now getting into other lines and they can't give me tickets. Well, I'm with my mother and I'm like kind of meek. I don't want to cause problems. Oh, my mother is not having this. My mother is like, we've been here. You will get us that. And she's being mouthy. She's being loud. And finally, the woman has had enough and she's like, ma'am, we'll get you better tickets. Okay. All right. So we get up and we hear, mind you, the front section is sold out. You've got to be kidding. We've been sitting here since 6 a.m. It's now like 10:07. The front section is sold out? What the hell? Oh, no. She types in a code. Here's 6th row tickets. Okay. So they were 6th row, and I think we were on an aisle, which is how Hyde and I were able to, like, Poison came on, bam, go to the barricade. So anyway, that's how
and
we
they would
got.
allow that. They allowed that back then. It was more free for all in a good way.
Because it's also when you didn't like everybody kind of paid the same ticket price. So like it sucked, I guess, if you were front row and people were trying to get in front of you, but at least you didn't pay $600 and they only paid $40. Like, so anyway.
Yeah. So I'm able to get to the barricade, but I'm not able to get over the barricade in my leather pants, and the show goes on. 2001, get up to the barricade again. They call people up. I am over that barricade. I am on stage singing Rock and Roll Night into Bobby Doll's microphone.
Oh, wow.
With Dee Snider on one side, because he hosted a radio show in Connecticut at the time and had been invited out. And with Matt Starr, who at the time was in a local band called The Flames, who now has been Ace Frehley's drummer, Mr. Big's drummer.
Oh, yeah.
He's in a new project. Like, this guy is everywhere. He's incredible. He's sitting on the other side of the mic with me, and I'm just like, this is the most amazing thing ever. 2 shows later, there was an incident of some sort, and they stopped pulling people up.
I don't know if I remember. I don't know if I remember them doing that.
I mean, they did it in Hartford. Who knows? Maybe they didn't do it in other places. But yeah, it was always the last song. It was always
incredible.
For Rock and Roll Night. So I remember I did this. I had a job where I was miserable at my job, and I had a new supervisor, and they wanted me to play 2 truths and a lie. And I said, I drive a Mustang, I love my job, and I sang for Poison. And she's like, well, you didn't sing for Poison. I go, actually, in a way, I did. She's like, so you don't drive a Mustang? And I'm like, oh, I drive a Mustang. She's like, so you don't love your job? I'm like, nope.
No.
That's what you're walking into.
That is awesome.
I'm a horrible person.
That is awesome.
One other story that I feel should be told is you were referencing earlier when you talked to Bret Michaels on your radio station, and he called back. And one of the things you talked about was seeing him in 2004 or 5. He did the after party. It was when he was trying to do country, right? So they had what used to be called the Flameworthy Awards, the CMT Awards. So it's the video awards for country music. And Bret was hosting an after party across the street. So Hyde and I get there at I think the show hadn't even started yet. Like, he's at the show, he's doing the after party, and we're like, nope, we're going to be front row. So we're front row at the stage, which is a bar in Nashville, and we're just waiting. And
like hands on the stage kind of thing, not like a barricade or anything.
Place.
We're there.
We're going to hold our place. And so Bret comes in and he brings all these like famous country guys, get up with him, like Montgomery Gentry, Toby Keith's there, some guy from the Mavericks, like a lot of people. And so Hyde says to him, sorry, I got very involved in storytelling. So he says to him, when they're on the phone, like, oh yeah, I was there that night. And I think Bret was like, are you serious? And the one thing that Hyde didn't tell him was that he asked us to supply lyrics to him.
No, bullshit. I told him that.
Did you tell him that? Okay.
I did. I said I owed him an apology. He was singing like "Give Me 3 Steps"
It was
by Leonard
Give Me Three
Skinner.
Steps.
And he'd been drinking a little bit, and the insulin wasn't flowing the way it should have been. So he leans into me. He's like, "What's the beginning of the next verse?" And I don't like Leonard Skinner, so I couldn't give him the answer. So I apologized to him, and he said he forgives me. And he's like, "Look, I can sing any of those Skinner songs backwards and forwards any day." He's like, "But obviously," he's like, "if you remember, we went hours and I did not get my insulin in time." I said, "Oh no, you kept saying I need to take a break and get insulin." But then Toby Keith walks in. You're like, "All right, another song." And Bret, and I said it to him, Bret leaves 100% on the stage. There's nothing left. And that show, we eventually left it at like 4 a.m. because we were tired.
We had to work.
We had to work the next day. And it was like, but he was still going. And like, that's what we talked about with Poison, with Bret. It's always a great show. You're never disappointed. And I hope, like you all do, I'm waiting for a 40th anniversary of Look What the Cat Dragged In. There's been some mudslinging lately that hopefully is all just build up to what's coming.
I hope so. Boy, I hope so. I mean, it would be such a milestone to not get a tour for. And I mean, I hope so. I hope it happens. And what a band. What a band. I really enjoyed doing this, and the lead up to it. I enjoyed the last few weeks. Just,
we went 4 hours again. I did not think this was going to go as long as Crew.
We did it.
Until next time. We all have our number ones. We want to know your favorite number ones. Throw them in the comments. If you're listening, just yell them out to the world and let people hear you. All right, till next time.
This was a blast.
It was nothing but a good time, one might say. The question is, what's our next one?
Yeah.
What do we do next?